afternoon in the upstate of South Carolina. Might as well play two. Another installment of SoCon Softball on ESPN Plus, brought to you by Ingles. A rivalry matchup brewing between the Wofford Terriers and the Furman Paladins. We welcome you into the booth, everybody. I'm Faxon Childress alongside Mark Childress. The Paladins took game one of this three-game set yesterday, but a little bit unorthodox in the methodology of the doubleheader.
Yeah, usually you have the doubleheader Saturday, game three on Sunday. It's supposed to rain here in the upstate tomorrow, so they moved game three up to game one yesterday. A spectacular performance by Sierra Tufts got things going. A 1-0 win for the Paladins, and we're going to jump right into game two as we speak. Paladins taking on the Terriers. Laura Lee Scott in the circle for Furman.
It will be Laura Lee Scott versus Gracie Parker to get things started here. And as we mentioned, game one of this series went to the Paladins on the back of Sierra Tufts' complete game one-hit shutout, in which she broke a new career high in strikeouts with 10. The Terrier lineup has a lot of shakeups today. Parker hitting the three-hole yesterday for the Terriers, hitting leadoff here today, and trying to get her team started, and maybe a little bit better of a start would be the key to success today for Wofford, as Parker quickly ahead in the count 2-0.
I think the key to success would be base runners, right? You had the one hit yesterday. Laura Lee Scott's had some fantastic outings of her own this season, including a victory over a top 20 ranked Clemson team.
Scott will deliver the 2-0. Catches the outside corner. Her first strike is a good pitch, and she's back into the AB at 2-1. Home plate umpire today is Alfred Baston. Got Michael Stewart on the first base line, and Monique McMurray, who was calling balls and strikes yesterday, down the third base line. Saw that outside corner strike, very prevalent for pitchers yesterday. Interested to see if it's more of the same. Scott can't get the call right there, and in danger of doing something that Sierra Tufts didn't do a single time all day yesterday. Might have been the most impressive part of that masterclass. Tufts walked 0 Terrier batters.
Well, she was feeling it yesterday with the 10 strikeouts and 0 walks. Probably the best performance of her career here at Furman.
3-1 from Scott, finds the zone. Parker didn't love it, and payoff pitch looming as the count moves to 3-2.
Kind of an important moment here very early in the ball game. Wofford just needs to see runners on base, and in their world, a run across the plate would be very helpful as well to get them going with the 2 back-to-back games today.
Payoff pitch is upstairs. Scott issues the base on balls. Parker will jog it 60 feet down to first. And for Gracie Parker, that's something that the Terriers only did once all of yesterday. Get a runner on base. So a great start for Wofford in the early going compared to the low bar set yesterday.
Yes, I mean, obviously you didn't score it all yesterday, so scratching one across here in the top of the first, or even hanging a crooked number, you'd be thrilled for that.
Heading in the 2-hole is the lefty Abby Campbell. We saw her hit leadoff for this team yesterday. Slap style hitter. And Scott just missed outside, count to 1-0. Saw Campbell showing bunt and Fabio crashing in, the freshman from Piedmont, South Carolina. And you'll notice a trend as we go through this Terrier lineup. Once again, this is the inaugural season of Wofford softball. A lot of youth littered throughout this lineup, and a really bright future as they've been able to stay competitive this year with all that youth.
Yeah, they've been fantastic in year one of a program.
Kind of a swinging bunt from Campbell. Fabio somehow made the play, came charging in and fired off balance. One down in the top of the first, but not at the expense of the runner moving up 60 feet.
I'm not even sure how to describe the play that Chloe Fabio just made, coming that far of a distance. She had very little wiggle room on the throw, almost had to throw the ball over the runner's left shoulder. Look how far she crashes in on this, and you see the stretch. Boy, that was close at first base, but they called her out, and that's an important out number 1 here in the top of the first.
Yeah, Taya usually goes to the runner. It was a bang-bang play. And Michael Stewart, first base umpire, had a better look than we did. He says out, and there's one down in the top of the first. Scott falling behind in another count. This one to the shortstop, Caitlin Greenwood. She had a very impressive day in the field yesterday. Another freshman from down in Columbia, South Carolina.
And you got a runner in scoring position, right? So a single could plate one here for Wofford. Exactly what they're looking for here in the top of the first.
1-0 misses downstairs. Greenwood quickly in the driver's seat, up 2-0 in the count. Lurking on deck is maybe the most dangerous player in this entire lineup right now, Abby Gossett. The freshman leads the team in batting average, has started to play her way into some more playing time and has excelled. Scott doesn't want to put 2 on for Gossett. Delivers the 2-0. Greenwood fouled it off her ankle. Umpire will give her a minute to gather her bearings, and she'll get back in there with the 2-1 count.
Couldn't tell if she was frustrated because she fouled the ball off her foot or that she had a cookie there to hit and could not put it into play. That was right down the middle. She's saying ow on that, but that's the kind you want to drive right into left field to get that 1-0 lead in this game. Might not see another one that good this at bat.
Scott trying to battle back into the count and keep the runner on second base. Greenwood lifts one down the first base line. Perry gives chase, but it's out of play. Scott does get that second strike. Count now even at 2-2.
39 walks, 37 strikeouts on the season for Laura Lee Scott. Pitches to contact, right? She doesn't have stuff that's going to overpower you for those high strikeout counts. So she pitches to contact a lot, but would love to get strike 3 here.
And for the Terriers, this is a position they were in only once yesterday with a runner in scoring position. And once that runner advanced, they were immediately struck out. Scott thought she pulled the string on strike 3, missed her spot by a little bit, and it's a full count at 3-2.
We've got a very small strike zone today. You talked about a large one yesterday. We're seeing the opposite so far here today.
In full agreement with you there, Mark. Scott needs to battle back right here, in danger of issuing her second base on balls of the first inning. Payoff pitch. It's a good one and a swing and a miss. Nice bounce back from Laura Lee Scott. She went with high heat in the 3-2 count and got Greenwood to chase. Now 2 down in the top of the first.
Yes, that was exactly what she needed here to get that second out, keep the runner in place at second base, and she just swung right through that. Good pitch from Laura Lee Scott.
So Scott picks up strikeout number 38 of the season. And it is going to be a challenging task to get out of the woods unscathed. Cleanup hitter for the Terriers is Abby Gossett. She swung and missed at the first pitch, burrows down to third. And advancing 60 feet is Gracie Parker. So some heads up base running from Parker as they're just 60 feet away from scoring. We take another look.
Yeah, that's important here. So she's going to cross home plate on anything that happens here. She hesitated just a second, but got in there with plenty of room to spare.
One from Scott, swing and a miss, count quickly to 1-2. And Laura Lee Scott would love to ring up her second strikeout of the afternoon to get out of this inning. Wofford did not advance a base runner to third base the entire day yesterday. Feels like they got to capitalize in the early going.
Yeah, it really does. That's exactly what they need to see. Gossett, the freshman, so much youth in this lineup for Wofford in their inaugural season.
0-2. Driven, third base, backhanded by Fabio. She does it again. What a first inning for Chloe Fabio, continuing to put on a show at the hot corner. And Laura Lee Scott wiggles out of the jam unscathed. We're off to the bottom of the first in Greenville. Paladins and Terriers knotted at 0 on ESPN+.
This is not the first all-electric car. That's because no BMW sees the road until it's reached the ultimate standard, our own. A standard that demands that every BMW drives and feels exactly like a BMW should. Unparalleled performance and precision handling made possible by electric engineering. But isn't that what you'd expect from the ultimate electric driving machine?
Take advantage of exceptional offers on the BMW electrified fleet.
You are the North Star, the guiding light for the ones you love. They watch, they learn, they do what you do. And when you take care of yourself, they can stay healthy and strong like you. You are the center of their universe, and the first step to their good health is yours. Bon Secours, primary, specialty, and emergency care. Healthcare for the universe of you.
It's the moment you dream of, the moment you work for, train for, run wind sprints when nobody's watching for, The moment when hours of gym time, court time, prep time, all culminate into this time. The moment when millions of bounces, blocks, and boards all add up to this, your moment. Ingalls, we're with you every step of the way.
We welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium here in Greenville, South Carolina. Doubleheader on deck between the Dins and the Terriers. So we take a look at the Furman starting lineup. Likens, Goldwait, Burrows, Perry, Chang, Poole, Yoshizumi, Alex Rose-Molinar, and Chloe Fabio in the 9-hole. And of course, head coach Stacy Johnson-Whitfield trying to cook up the right math equation to solve the puzzle here today for the Terriers, as they've got their ace on the hill mark in Margaret Axelson. She is on the top of the SoCon leaderboards in a few very key stats.
Yeah, Axelson's up there in the top 10 and earned run average up there, and batters struck out as well. She's been doing a fantastic job this season when she's in the circle. The sophomore transfer from Birmingham Southern.
Fires a strike over the outside corner. As you take a look at her numbers this season, most impressive part about the line for the sophomore, in my opinion, that walk to strikeout ratio. Only 16 walks to 45 strikeouts. Anytime you got a 3-to-1 ratio or so positive-wise, that's a really good sign.
That's a fantastic sign, right? And not something that we see in the circle from Furman, where the numbers almost match for Laura Lee Scott. Axelson with the 45 Ks to 16 walks. Very, very impressive.
Likens battling on that outside corner after she took strike 2 on the outside corner, maybe a little bit more lenient than it was in the top of the first, as we take a look at how the Terriers line up defensively.
Yeah, Axelson and Linson in the battery. You've got Campbell, Towery, Maddox in the outfield. Parker, Greenwood, Petty, and Bigham across the diamond in the infield.
Likens wisely lays off that one. It was in the dirt, and the count even at 2-2. We mentioned the strikeout prowess that Axelson does possess. She's got really good stuff. But Likens one of the hardest to strike out in the entire conference. 362 batting average entering today for Likens. Slaps one down the third base line, and home plate umpire quickly will say foul. Likens will have another go at 2-2.
Yeah, we've seen all season, if Likens puts the ball on the ground in play in the infield, unless it's hit directly at somebody and hard, you can just put her on first base. That's how quick she is. So you can see her running up in there just trying to slap it to the left-hand side of the infield. If she can take a little bit off of it, even better. You want her on the base paths if you're the Paladins.
And that one misses outside. Full count now to Ashley Likens, who's quietly worked an 8-pitch AB here in the bottom of the first, doing exactly what her role is as the leadoff man.
That was a really tough pitch to take when you already have 2 strikes, but Likens made the right call on that.
Likens battling again, shot one down the left field line and foul. It will now be a double-digit pitch at bat for Axelson. Not exactly how you want to start a game, but if you can get over that hump and get Likens, it makes your life so much easier trying to navigate through this Paladin lineup. And got to give some credit as well to Greenwood, who was in the circle yesterday for Wofford. She was fantastic. I mean, Abby Greenwood went 6 innings of 1-run ball. That one's on the ground to Petty. Fires over to first, and 9 pitches later, Axelson retires Likens.
Yeah, great pitcher's duel yesterday. And we've got good pitching so far today, and only the top of the first inning. But you saw Likens there. She hit the ball really hard, but she hit it right at Petty. Petty, if she would have even wasted a half a second, it might have cost her. Nice throw over to first base for an all-important out number 1.
And we will now get another lefty slap style hitter in Caitlin Goldwait. Designated player is her role today. You'll see her in the outfield some too for Coach Johnson-Whitfield. Take strike 1 on the outside corner.
Yeah, we've talked a lot. We really like how Goldwait plays. She's a tough out for the Paladins. Batting .260, feels like she's on base a lot more than that. So I bet that number will continue to rise as the season goes on.
She's got a chance to show off the wheels and does. That one will trickle all the way into the outfield. Wait official scoring on that, but I'm not sure they would have gotten her even if it was fielded cleanly. Goldwait, the first Paladin base runner.
Yeah, that's going to be, I feel very confident that's going to be a hit. As you see, again, you've got a run over, you've got a long way to go for the shortstop. If it had made it all the way to the second baseman, even if the shortstop would have scooped it up, Greenwood over there, she would have been safe on first base. So I'm expecting this to be labeled a hit.
Yes, and official scoring does say single up the middle for Goldwait, so her Batting average continues to trend upwards as Sylvia Burrows now has a big chance with the runner on. She takes strike one, and Mark, this is one of the more interesting case studies in the Southern Conference. Just a .254 batting average for Burrows, but a .416 OBP. She's second in the SoCon with those 33 walks, just to 13 strikeouts. So we talked about Axelson and her impressive walk to strikeout ratio at the dish. This is one of the most impressive in the league with Burrows.
Yeah, and again, she's got 33 walks, only 13 strikeouts. We were talking about Axelson, as you were saying, having the nice ratio. She's got a really good one as well. 10 doubles and a homer to go with that, so she can hit for power. And a really tough out. So again, just on the surface, you got to dig deeper into the numbers, right? On the surface, you look 254. That's not well, 254 is not the greatest batting average in the world, but that on-base percentage over 400 out of a 3-hole hitter who has power, very impressive.
Yep, got those 10 doubles you referenced, 27 RBIs for Burrows this season, and her production increases in these pressure spots. She's hitting a smooth .314 with runners on. She rises to the occasion. Axelson tried to get her to chase outside, count even at 2-2. And once again, this is what the Paladins do best, in my opinion, when they're clicking offensively. Working pitch counts is something that this team can do very, very effectively, especially at the top of the order. 2-2, Burrows puts a charge into that one into right field. Shouldn't give Maddox too many issues. She makes the routine play, and out number 2 retired in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, good job of pitching there from Axelson, kind of have her reaching out on it. Again, if you're a pitcher that pitches to contact, and again, Axelson's not doing that as much as some of the other pitchers that we'll see today. Not having to put the barrel on the bat, right? Having to just reach a little bit to the outside to try to drive one, and you hit it just off of that barrel, and it ends up being an easy pop fly.
First pitch to the preseason SoCon Player of the Year, Kylie Perry, is a strike. The Alpharetta native put together such an impressive freshman year last year for Stacey Johnson-Whitfield and her staff. Took home first team all SoCon honors as she swings and misses at strike 2. And this has been where Coach Johnson-Whitfield is tinkering with the lineup. Perry had another great day in the 5-hole yesterday. Chang hit cleanup. Now Perry back in that cleanup spot. Chang in the 5-hole. Perry could find the gap. Does find the gap. Chance to plate Goldwade, who's running around third base. She will score. It is a sliding triple for Kylie Perry to get the Dins started early in game 1. And the preseason SoCon Player of the Year does what she does best, answer the call with runners on base.
Yeah, Perry did a great job. We talked about how the last one wasn't off the barrel. Perry got the barrel on that one, put it out in the right center field gap. A triple for her, which is her second of the season. An all-important RBI and the first run of the ball game here in game 1 of the doubleheader. And Goldwade, a great job of running the bases. She never even thought about hesitating, and Perry didn't either. Look at her, doesn't hesitate at all. She could have come in standing at third base if she'd have wanted to, and she's fired up. She should be.
Very animated, yelling back at the dugout, and why wouldn't she be? Obviously, there's no love lost between these two teams, no. Furman and Wofford. This rivalry runs deep. Chang, comebacker to the mound. Axelson will handle, but not before she surrenders a run off the bat of Kylie Perry. The preseason SoCon Player of the Year's triple has the Dins in the driver's seat. 1-0 headed to the second inning on ESPN+.
So this is pickleball?
It's basically tennis for babies, but for adults.
It should be called wiffle tennis.
Pickle!
Yeah,
These guys are intense.
We got nothing to worry about. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
Got him.
Game.
Thanks for coming to our clinic. First one's free.
Dad, don't forget about my new cleats.
Sweetie, I can't make it to Dick's this week.
Have you heard of Dix.com?
Have I heard of Dix.com? Have I heard of Dix.com? Whoa.
Don't overthink it. Let's go shopping.
Actually, what I need are some cleats.
How about one of these?
Great.
Done. Anything else?
No, golf club? Not for me.
Yeah,
Friend.
of course.
Anyone impressed with how fast that was?
Yeah,
I know. I went to Dix.com.
Thank you. I love you.
Well, I went to Dix.com. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, I told you about that.
We got a Subaru Forester Wilderness to discover all the places that make us feel something more.
the National Park Foundation's largest corporate donor, helping expand access for all.
Get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2024 Forester. Going on now.
We welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium here in Greenville, South Carolina. The inaugural rivalry series between the Furman Paladins and the Wofford Terriers. Once again, you see that 16-19, 6-7 record in the top left-hand corner. Not too shabby for the first season in the existence of your program. Chelsea Butler and co have done a great job in Spartanburg this year.
They really have. I mean, just think about how difficult it is to start up a program, right? And she had a couple of years of runway to be able to build that roster, get these ladies ready to play. They've done a solid job in season one, and they're right in the mix in the middle of the standings in the Southern Conference. These are a really important 2 games today. You see them separated by 1 game in the schedule. A couple of wins by Furman would have them to 7 and 8, right? They could pass Wofford in the standings. Wofford could get over 500 in the standings with 2 wins today. So there's a lot riding on this afternoon.
Laura Lee Scott misses her spot. The first 2 pitches against the sole hitter to have a base knock yesterday for the Terriers. It was Megan Towery, the center fielder. She moved up in the lineup as a result of a good day in the field on the base paths and at the plate yesterday. Hitting in the 5-hole is the freshman. Scott trying to work her way back into the count. Missed it a little low. And quickly behind 3-0 to the center fielder for Wofford. And Mark, as you look down this Terrier order, the first 5 hitters have all been freshmen, as you see Emmy Bizard getting warm in the bullpen for the Paladins.
Yeah, first 5 hitters have been solid for Wofford, and Laura Lee Scott trying to avoid what she did last inning. And she gets the strike call there. So they're getting the high strike today, just not the low strike. Again, leadoff walk last inning, and she pitched around it. But leadoff walks come home to score more often than not. The last thing that you want to do right here.
The 3-1. Towery looking to replicate yesterday's success. Instead, gets a little too far underneath that one, and the second baseman Chang ranges to make the play. 1 down in the top of the second.
A unique series this weekend, as we talked about. Game 3 was supposed to be on Sunday. Looks like it's going to rain here in the upstate of South Carolina tomorrow. So Furman and Wofford got together. They moved Game 1 to yesterday. And that puts a little bit of extra stress on the 2 coaches, right? You're normally used to managing a doubleheader and then having the backup game on Sunday. Flipping that around is going to change your strategy a lot. How are you going to manage your arms? Who's pitching when? How do you want to do it? What are your lineups going to look like? So a unique twist to the weekend that both coaches are going to have a lot of work or extra work to do today.
As you see, Allie Bigham steps in now for the Terriers. Quickly ahead in the count, 1-0. Takes a cut at the second pitch, actually ricocheted off the pole, and Kylie Berry made the play. Count to 1-1.
Yeah, that could have hit off the pole in dead center field if she had made contact. That was a big cut.
Bigham, the junior from Waxhaw, North Carolina, was at Samford, so a fellow SoCon opponent back in 2022. Started 7 games for the Bulldogs. Decided to transfer to Wofford, come to Spartanburg, and play for Coach Chelsea Butler. Has had an impressive junior campaign. Scott trying to find her rhythm, get a better grip on the ball. She'll fire the 1-1. Nice off-speed pitch, found the strike zone, 1-2 now the count.
Yeah, maybe her best pitch so far. Interesting to me to see Buzzard already up in the bullpen. And what Johnson Whitfield has in mind today. Are we going to see Sierra Tufts again in Game 2 today? That's something you and I have been speculating on after she was so good yesterday.
That one fouled off into the backstop. Count 1-2. Continuing to stay alive is Bigham. Be interesting to see how Coach Johnson Whitfield manages her pitching staff today. We saw Buzzard warming early in the bullpen. Maybe that means there's some plans for Laura Lee Scott to throw again in Game 2 of this doubleheader.
That's possible too as well, yep.
The 1-2 from Scott. Bigham, big time swing. And watch her car out in left field. Thankfully it avoids any windshield damage. And a loud foul ball will keep the count at 1-2.
I did not park out there. I don't know if you did,
yeah,
but I did not. But I would have been doing a double take or asking for a camera view to check out my vehicle.
The 1-2 to Bigham. Another big-time swing. Chang somehow made the play. Fires to Perry for out number 2. And this Furman infield continues to display defensive wizardry in the early going.
You and I have talked a lot. We really like Ansley Chang, and we like what she does at the plate. But that was a very difficult play to make. She didn't have a whole lot of time to react. Made a great play to get out number 2. Chang's impressive out there in the field.
Yeah, very impressive. And plus, impressive range to make that play for a freshman. As Hannah Maddox will now step in for the Terriers. Takes strike 1 on the outside corner. Just the 7th at-bat of Maddox's season. A junior from Inman, South Carolina, getting a big-time nod here today in the lineup from Chelsea Butler. They're looking to even the series at 1-1 against their rivals. 0-1 from Scott. She had been getting that upstairs strike call. Doesn't get the benefit of the doubt there. The count now even at 1-1.
Scott asking for another pitch call. I think she might have wanted to throw something else.
Went with the off speed, didn't miss her spot by much, a little bit too low, says home plate umpire Alfred Baston. Count to 2-1.
Digging those batting helmets for Wofford with the big logo on the side. I
really
really like
them as well.
that. Yeah, you don't see that very often, but very, very cool. Good choice by them.
2-1 from Scott. Finds the strike zone, 2-2 the count, and to wrap back to that point, Mark, when it's the inaugural season, you got to look good and play good. I feel like the jerseys are important. That's going to be how Terrier softball is forever remembered in year 1, is with these uniforms, and they impressed. Scott looking to get out of another inning, maintain this shutout. The 2-2, check swing, wise take from Maddox. And Scott was halfway to the dugout thinking she had that strike 3. Instead, it's a full count.
Yeah, she checked her swing. She wanted to go. Let's see if she goes off speed here, 3-2. Tries to pull the string on that.
Feels like a big moment for both Scott and the Terriers. Payoff pitch. Big time swing from Maddox. She lifts one over towards left field. And once again, watch your car, folks, out at Pepsi Stadium. We'll do it again from 3-2. Some loud foul balls from Wofford in this inning.
Yeah. Getting way out in front of those off-speed pitches. Let's see if she goes to it again or tries to sneak some heat by her.
Payoff pitch. Lifted into center field, and as routine as ever for Ashley Likens, off to the bottom of the 2nd from Greenville. Furman in the driver's seat, 1-0 lead over their rivals in Wofford on ESPN+.
So this is pickleball?
It's basically tennis for babies, but for adults.
It should be called wiffle tennis.
Pickle!
Yeah,
These guys are intense.
We got nothing to worry about. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
Got him.
Game.
Thanks for coming to our clinic. First one's free.
What's up, Auntie? Did you get the basketball shoes I need for tryouts this weekend?
Oh, dude, I'm not gonna be able to make it to Dick's this week.
You can just click on Dix.com.
Dick's.com.
Oh, welcome to Dix.com. Let me guess, you need to get the gear to save the day.
Wow, they're beautiful.
Right now, you can get any large pizza for just $12 from Pizza Hut. Any pizza, any crust, $12. That means meat lovers, supreme, or create your own with any toppings, just $12. This deal won't last long, so order any way you want now.
That looks really high.
It is high.
Whenever you're ready.
Are there any snakes?
Nope.
You sure? Here we go.
It's time to push your limits.
You're doing great.
Whoa, is that a buffalo?
Babe, that's a cow.
The Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. Adventure on the edge.
We welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium here in Greenville, South Carolina. SoCon softball presented by Ingles on ESPN+. Facts and Childress, Mark Childress alongside. Calling the game here today, game 2 of this series. Furman took game 1, 1-2-0 yesterday. And Axelson will get things started in her second inning of work with a strike on the outside corner to Hannah Poole playing right field for the Paladins today. It's been an impressive year for Poole. The Nicholson native is ending her Paladin career with a bang. .274 batting average, has been sharp in the field all year long as well, but will foul that one off and quickly fall behind 0-2 in the count.
Yeah, it feels like Chloe Fabio makes a great play at third base, it seems like every week, and Hannah Poole makes a great play in right field. She almost fouled that one back off of her helmet, hit her in the upper part of her right arm.
Poole now having to play survival and swings and misses. A 3-pitch strikeout for Margaret Axelson. You're seeing why she's got 45 on the season, make it 46 now, and there's one down in the bottom of the second.
Yeah, that was an elite pitch to get her first strikeout of the game.
Let's take another look. You don't see Poole strike out a whole lot, and especially not in that fashion. Regardless, it'll now bring up the 7-hole hitter for the Paladins, Ainsley Yoshizumi. Caitlin Laudick got the nod in left field yesterday. She played well. Yoshizumi back in the rotation today, the senior from Federal Way, Washington. And she takes ball 2 low as well, so quickly in the driver's seat in the count. And Mark, one of the things that this Furman order does well when they're clicking offensively, this bottom part of the order does a good job of flipping the lineup and getting it back to Likens. We'll see if they're able to do that here in the bottom of the second and potentially extend their lead as Yoshizumi now leads in the count 3-0.
Yeah, get some base runners, right, for your big bats when they come back up. But Yoshizumi's been solid here recently, especially at the plate.
3-0. Axelson needs one over the plate and does exactly that. Back in the count, 3-1.
I'm going to guess she's going to see a pitch to hit here. We talked about Axelson being right around the plate most of the time. She drives that one to center field, and a really nice play out there by Towery. Got a little bit of a late jump on it, but made a good grab.
Yeah, Towery had the sole hit of game 1 of this series for the Terriers yesterday. She also did that a couple times in center field, made some nice plays, and ranging on her horse backwards right there to make the play.
Yeah, she made a really good play there on a tough ball when it's coming right at you. A little bit tough to judge. Here's a big hero from yesterday, Alex Rose-Molinar, with her single and RBI, and that was all the scoring we saw all day yesterday.
Yeah, she had a little blooper that landed down the right field line, and that's all the Paladins needed with that complete game shutout from Sierra Tufts. The San Diego native, the senior, potentially trying to spark a 2-out rally here in the bottom of the second for the Paladins. Takes ball 1 way outside, and Mark, something interesting. We talked about how the first 5 batters in the Wofford lineup are freshmen. The bottom 4 of the order today for the Paladins are all seniors with Poole, Yoshizumi, Molinar, and Fabio. So a quartet, if you will, of players with a lot of tread on their tires, a lot of at-bats, a lot of big moments for the Paladins over the last 4 years. A lot of experience at the bottom of the order.
Yeah, if you flip the lineup back to the top, you got Likens, right? So you technically have 5 in a row coming up that are seniors. A lot of veteran talent here on this Paladin team.
1-2. Good eye from Alex Rose-Molinar. Let's take a look at Coach Johnson Whitfield down the first base line. It's a unique group this year for her, a good combination of young talent and some veteran savviness. And she's trying her best to make the most of that roster right in the mix of things. Rose-Molinar, weak grounder to shortstop. Greenwood had to fire a missile across the diamond, but was there in time. We're off to the 3rd inning here in Greenville. Furman still a 1-0 lead over their rivals Wofford on ESPN+.
So this is pickleball?
Pickle!
Oh, these guys are intense. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
Things will go wrong for your customers, but your business can make it right with Watson X Assistant. AI that can help resolve problems by understanding your customer requests with 90% accuracy. Let's create customer service in service of customers with Watson X Assistant. IBM, let's create.
Here's to a new feeling. One where comfort breaks limits. Where fit follows your definition.
Hey, you cannot leave the lemons in the
Flexibility brings power. And every move feels weightless.
Hey, Shayla.
Here's to unlocking absolute confidence. Get into it. Lululemon Align.
We welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium here in Greenville, South Carolina. 2 innings down of Game 1 of the doubleheader today on ESPN Plus between the Furman Paladins and Wofford Terriers. And it will be the backstop for the Terriers, Olivia Linzen, who had a couple nice at-bats yesterday for Wofford, trying to kick things off and potentially get their first hit of the afternoon across the board on Laura Lee Scott. First pitch from Scott in there for a strike.
9 innings of shutout ball, right, by the Paladin pitching staff so far. And if you're Wofford, you're not getting desperate, but you want to make sure you're not going up there and trying to force the issue and push, right? You want to see a couple of hits. You obviously want to see a couple of runs cross the plate. It's got to be in your head a little bit as you're going after it. And again, you don't want to change your approach, because that's when you can start getting into trouble, right? Rushing some at bats, making some quick outs, and then suddenly you're 5 innings into the game and you haven't scored.
Seems imperative that the Terriers break the streak soon. Laura Lee Scott, another pitcher capable of going deep into games and shutting lineups down, as she will retire Linzen pretty quickly with another pop out to Chang at second base, who's been active in the early going. 1 down in the top of the 3rd.
Well, that's what you want to do, right? Laura Lee Scott, really the only mistake she's made so far is walking the leadoff hitter in the 1st. Remember, she got behind 3-0 on Megan Towery to start the 2nd, was able to get the pop up to the second baseman on that. So you don't want to let that leadoff runner on, and she's, at this point, retired 7 straight after that leadoff walk.
First pitch to Petty is fouled off.
And hit the pole, too.
Hit the pole again,
I don't think we've ever seen that. It's happened twice in like 4 batters, fouling it back off the screen, and they have those little tiny poles back there, hitting it dead center. That's really strange.
Second baseman from Union, South Carolina. Had a nice day yesterday in the field. That one misses outside, count to 1-1. And Mark, yesterday, Sam got, I don't know if mad's the right word, but I said that Petty wouldn't back down from the ball at second base.
Yeah, I know that's where you were gonna go with this. And again, I'm proud of you. Proud of you.
It was Taylor Swift Day at the park yesterday. They were giving out free T-shirts here at Pepsi Stadium, and Jason Donnelly, the rest of the great crew here at Furman University, putting on another nice event. Had a great crowd at Pepsi Stadium.
They weren't giving out Taylor Swift T-shirts.
I want to say that they were. I want to say they were giving out Taylor Swift T-shirts. The first 50 students at Pepsi Stadium. There were a lot more than 50 students there. It felt like multiple hundred people in the bleachers, and then obviously at Pepsi Stadium you can roll up in the outfield as well, which a lot of people do. 1-2 to the 9-hole for the Terriers, sent out of play near the Furman bullpen, and she'll do it again from the same count.
Petty would love to get on base and flip the lineup back to the top.
Feels like a big at-bat for a Terriers lineup that's been dormant thus far in the series against Furman. 1-2. Driven, once again, too far underneath it. Couple Paladins in range. It's the senior Alex Rose Molinar calling off everybody else, and there's 2 down in the top of the 3rd.
That's interesting. Molinar must have had a really good beat on it to call everyone off. You don't see a shortstop go that far back out into the grass and not be called off by one of the players. And you know what Petty said to Laura Lee Scott? Don't do me like that.
There you go.
Give me a better pitch. Is that all right?
There you go. Yeah, you
Okay,
got your
thanks.
one in for the day.
No, there's more than one. She'll be up again.
First pitch to the leadoff batter for the Terriers, Gracie Parker, is low. Parker, the lone base runner of the afternoon thus far for Wofford. She walked first at bat of the game. Since then, it's been a whole lot of nothing from this Terrier lineup. They would love to break that trend with the 2-out base hit. Scott finding that outside corner. Feels like the zone's starting to expand behind the plate as the game goes on. Not as much squeezing of the pitchers going on.
What inning was the hit in for Wofford yesterday?
It was in the 3rd inning.
3rd inning. Okay.
A chance to try and match that recipe for success. Would love to play to run here today in game 2 of the series, as that one missed outside. Count to 2-1. Parker, another player that's exhibited really good plate discipline young in her career. 16 walks, 8 strikeouts for the freshman.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Batting over 300 with 2 outs. That's a good pitch right there.
Yeah, Scott, nice bounce back pitch on the outside corner. And that's how we saw Sierra Tufts have a lot of success yesterday.
Yeah, you don't want to fall behind any batters, right? And Tufts seemed like she was jumping on everybody yesterday. Laura Lee Scott would love to even up the count here.
Scott delivers. Parker fouled it off, and the count now to 2-2. Laura Lee Scott, the Greenwood native, has had such an impressive season for the Paladins. Could argue this is one of the biggest starts of her career in this rivalry matchup or down the home stretch in the SoCon season. 2-2. Parker got jammed. Perry made the play, raced to the bag, and she wins it. 3 shutout innings for Laura Lee Scott, still yet to surrender a hit to this Terrier lineup. And we're off to the bottom of the 3rd from Greenville. Furman 1, Wofford 0 on ESPN+.
Hey, grab me one too.
When you look at a diamond, what do you see? A multifaceted stone of remarkable strength, formed under intense pressure to shine brighter than all the rest. Hard edges, clean lines, with a fire inside. When you look at a diamond, what do you see? Ingalls, proud sponsor of Furman Athletics.
This telecast of Furman College softball is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. By Bon Secours, healthcare for the universe of you. By Ingalls, low prices love the savings. And by Pepsi, that's what I like. We welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium here in Greenville, South Carolina. The Dins on top 1-0 in game 2 of this series between their interstate rivals, the Wofford Terriers. But we got 2 games today and a lot to go in game 1. Faxon Childress, Mark Childress in the booth. And Margaret Axelson in the circle for the Terriers. Felt like she really found her groove in that 2nd inning. Would love to keep this game at just a 1-run deficit for a Terriers lineup that struggled all weekend.
Yeah, I think giving up that triple to Perry kind of angered her a little bit, maybe. I mean, she was lights out there when we saw her last inning. She's got Fabio, like you said, and then flipped the lineup back to Likens and Goldwait. She'd love to keep it going, and you want to hold this right here, right? Wofford's bats are struggling right now. You do not want to get behind by a crooked number.
So Axelson going to do her best to keep the Paladin lineup at bay while her lineup tries to pick up some slack. Fabio, ball on the ground. Nice play by Parker at 3rd. She fires across the diamond for out number 1. And the biggest part of yesterday as well, Mark, Just one combined error between the two teams. It ended up being an insignificant one on Wofford, but Sam and I were both very, very impressed at the speed in which this Terrier defense flies across the infield, as you saw it right there with Parker charging that ball.
Well, I see a lot of the reason why they have 6 Southern Conference wins this season, right? Furman's done a lot of damage to themselves the last couple of weeks with poor defensive play. We've seen it cost them a couple of games.
Right.
They had a game where they had to mount a massive comeback because they've given up so many unearned runs. So nice to see them with a clean sheet so far today as well.
Ashley Likens, the leadoff hitter for the Paladins, as the lineup is flipped for the first time. Shows bunt, takes strike one on the outside corner to even the count up. And what some people may not realize in softball is the margin for error as an infielder is none. With the 60-foot base paths, and obviously all these schools are recruiting speedy players, you've got no room for error if a ball is hit hard on the ground, especially for somebody like Ashley Likens. You give a little bit of a bobble and you might as well just eat it and not even throw the ball over.
Yeah, no doubt. She's going to put a lot of pressure on the defense. She's top 5 in the Southern Conference coming into this game in batting average. We enjoy watching her play, man. She's a lot of fun, especially on the base paths. If you're a Paladin fan, you don't want her on the base paths if you're a Wofford Terrier fan. All right, so Faxon, I did a little research. How many miles apart are Furman and Wofford, as the Terriers have warming in the bullpen? That's Taven Stevenson. How many miles apart? And I'm going to ask you for tenths of a mile as well.
Tenths of a mile.
Yes, we're going to be specific after this pitch between Wofford and Furman.
2-2 to Likens, driven, deflected by the first baseman and the second baseman. So Bigham got a glove on it, as did Petty. But Ashley Likens way too quick and finds herself on first base with Caitlin Goldwait, who already has a hit to her name lurking in the shadows. Mark, to bring back your point about this interstate rivalry and how many miles apart, is it under 10? Can I get a hint?
No. Between Wofford's in Spartanburg, Furman's here. So how far apart do you think Wofford and Furman are? You're way off.
I'm way off.
Yeah, under 10. Come on now.
First pitch swinging, Likens, the speed demon, steals another bag, as once again she continues to dominate the base pass. That's steal number 16 of the season for Ashley Likens.
Yeah, she's in the top 5 in the Southern Conference in steals as well. 38.3 miles.
38.3 miles.
38.3 miles apart.
Still working on my South Carolina geography and the skills.
I'm pretty disappointed by your guess there.
That one on the outside corner, and 0-2. Goldwait is quickly down in the count. I would say that you have a little bit of an advantage as an alumni.
Yes.
So you know all the history of the rivalry.
Have you been to Spartanburg?
I have been to Spartanburg.
You have, that's true. Okay, good.
0-2. Goldwait, they're going to say, did she foul that off? We're waiting official ruling from our home plate umpire. Likens found third base. And if Goldwait did not make contact with that, it's going to be runner on the corners with just one out for the Paladins. And that seems like a break for Furman, actually beneficial to strike out for Caitlin Goldwait. As you take another look, she did not hit that, and Linzen behind the dish could not corral it in time.
So she strikes out swinging, reaches first on a wild pitch. They're going to say Likens gets to third on the wild pitch. And the Paladins have something cooking here in the third.
Burrows, first pitch swinging right at the shortstop, fired back across, and could not double up the speedy Likens on third base. But one pitch, one out for Axelson. Feels like a huge lift here in the bottom of the third with runners on the corners.
And one out and runners on the corner versus that. And I thought Burrows had hammered it, but ended up not getting the barrel on it. And now the big hero in the game so far, Kylie Perry, who had the triple and RBI back in the first, has a chance to pick up her teammates again here in the third.
She'll take ball one a little bit too low, and also something to monitor as well. Goldwait, who's on first base, was the one that Kylie Perry knocked in back in that first inning. As we take another look.
Yeah, she was safe.
And it was fortunate that Parker was able to kind of snow cone and hold on to that at third base, because if not, Likens had a chance to score if that got by her and went towards the dugout.
Oh, absolutely. That's a really good point. Paladins like to run a lot with 2 outs. We've talked about Stacey Johnson-Whitfield doing that. It wouldn't stun me to see Caitlin Goldwait try to take second base, because you're probably not going to try to throw her out with Likens on third.
Perry takes strike 2 on the inside corner, 1-2 now the count. Be interesting to see if they're active with Goldwait on the base paths. See Perry's Stat line on the season. Preseason SoCon Player of the Year, has lived up to those expectations. Would love to give her Paladin squad a lift with a base knock here. The 1-2. Same spot, same result, called strike 3. Margaret Axelson wiggles out of a runners on the corners, 1-out jam, and we're off to the 4th from Greenville. Furman 1, Wofford 0 on ESPN+.
So this is pickleball?
It's basically tennis for babies, but for adults.
It should be called wiffle tennis.
Pickle!
Yeah, oh.
These guys are intense.
We got nothing to worry about. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
Got him.
Game.
Thanks for coming to our clinic. First one's free.
Things will go wrong for your customers, but your business can make it right. With Watson X Assistant, AI that can help resolve problems by understanding your customer requests with 90% accuracy. Let's create customer service in service of customers with Watson X Assistant. IBM, let's create.
We got a Subaru Forester Wilderness to discover all the places that make us feel something more.
Subaru is the National Park Foundation's largest corporate donor, helping expand access for all.
Get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2024 Forester. Going on now.
Welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium. Good crowd on hand here today as it's game 2 of the series, game 1 of the doubleheader here today on a Saturday at Pepsi Stadium. Paladins currently in the driver's seat as they were yesterday. Same scoreline as game 1, it's 1-0. Laura Lee Scott looking to emulate that success that Sierra Tufts had in the circle for the Paladins.
Hasn't quite been as sharp on the balls and strikes as she'd like to be, but pretty much untouched so far, right? The leadoff walk followed by 9 straight shut down by Scott.
Missed low for ball 1 to the 2-hole hitter for the Terriers, Abby Campbell. The left fielder hit leadoff yesterday for Wofford. She's in the 2-hole today. And very similar to the Likens and Goldthwait for the home team. Lefty slap style hitter. She's running out of the box on that one. You see the speed. Chang made the play, got her just in time, and there's 1 down in the 4th.
Boy, she got down there quick. That ball kind of looked like it took a funny hop on Chang, and she had to reach for it a little bit more than she wanted, but she didn't panic and make the play. So that ball took a high hop. You see her almost have to go up, right up underneath her shoulder to make the play. That was almost enough to have the speedy Campbell beat it out, but it's now 10 in a row for Laura Lee Scott.
Laura Lee Scott mowing down the Terriers, swinging a miss on the first pitch to the shortstop for Wofford, Greenwood. This is Caitlin Greenwood, no relation with the starting pitcher yesterday, Abby Greenwood for Wofford. Talked about her and how she honestly pitched a really good game. 6 innings, only 1 run allowed, but lineup was not good enough to get it done for Wofford yesterday. As Scott misses outside, count now even at 1-1.
So we have a player from Greenwood pitching to a batter named Greenwood. Don't see that very often.
This is why we pay you the big bucks around here, Mark.
I studied hours to be able to drop that one today. We've got 2 Greenwoods in the lineup. And Laura Lee Scott, of course, from right down the road in Greenwood. Do I need to pull up a geography question? How far is Furman from Greenwood?
Yeah, absolutely not.
You have no clue?
Idea. That's probably a couple hours, right? A couple hours down the road.
Maybe not that far. We'll look.
1-2. Greenwood fouled it off. Lives to see another day, and we'll do it again from the same count.
"61 miles.
About an hour and a half.
Yeah.
The Greenwood native trying to strike out Greenwood for the Terriers. 1-2. Missed her spot on the outside corner.
Not by much.
Yeah, not by much at all. We've mentioned that the strike zone has seemingly grown as the game has gotten deeper, especially on that outside corner, but Laura Lee Scott didn't get the call right there. Terriers had one hit yesterday and have not registered a hit here today. Greenwood looking to break that trend, and does. That's the classic announcer's jinx by me. It's extra bases for Greenwood, and she's standing on second. First hit of the afternoon for the Terriers, and feels like the streak has kind of finally been broken. First extra base hit of the series as well for Wofford.
Yeah, boy, and she did a really good job on that one, putting it over Chang at second base, out into right center field, aggressive on the base paths as well, and the tying run in scoring position for Wofford.
So tying run just 120 feet away from home plate, and the cleanup hitter, most dangerous player in the lineup right now, the freshman Abby Gossett at the dish with a chance to do some damage for the Terriers. First pitch from Scott, a little bit too low, 1-0 the count. The 1-0. Mr. Spot downstairs again. Count quickly to 2-0 in advantage of Gossett. Mark, we saw Emmy Bizard warming in the pen a couple innings back for the Paladins. Got to wonder what the leash is on Laura Lee Scott here as she's wiggled her way into a jam, and obviously would usually trust her to get out of this, but you want her available as well for game 2 of this doubleheader. We see Coach Johnson Whitfield do that frequently. That one's lifted into right field. Poole will range and make the play, come up firing to third. What a throw, but she's safe. It was a laser beam from right field to third base from Hannah Poole. Greenwood just beat the tag. Runner will move up 60 feet. It's a productive out for Gossett, but was almost a double play.
Chelsea Butler, again, living on the edge, being aggressive with the base running and telling her girls to take that extra base. That could be important if a ball were to slip away from Burrows behind the plate. The tying run could cross. Any ball that's like kicked in the infield a little bit. Run crosses a plate, game is tied. So let's see if the aggression pays off for Wofford.
First pitch, missed the inside corner for ball 1 to the center fielder, Tellery.
She had the hit yesterday, right?
She did, yeah. Had that hit back in the third inning yesterday. Would love a base knock here as Greenwood just 60 feet away from plating the first run of the series for Wofford, potentially. Big time cut and a miss to even the count at 1-1.
So he took just a little bit off of that, and it almost feels like a slower fastball that she's throwing, right? And she's thrown it a couple of times with great success. You think the ball's going to get up there at a certain pace, you take just a little bit off.
Scott trying to wiggle out of another jam. It's a nice step in the right direction as it's 1-2. She just needs one more strike to get out of it unscathed.
Yeah, do you pull the string on the off-speed pitch here, or do you throw something outside, see if you can get her fishing a little bit? Wofford needs a run.
The 1-2. Maybe trying to set things up for the 2-2 pitch now as Towery laid off. Terrier dugout with a lot of enthusiasm. You can sniff the fact that this is their chance to get back into this ball game. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Laura Lee Scott wiggles out of yet another jam for the Paladins and is through 4 innings of work scoreless. We're headed to the bottom half of the frame on ESPN Plus with the Dens in the lead.
We got a Subaru Forest to Wilderness to discover all the places that make us feel something more.
Subaru is the National Park Foundation's largest corporate donor, helping expand access for all.
Get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2024 Forester. Going on now.
Give me that ooey gooey, crispy, crunchy, mouth watering. Give me that creamy, dreamy, meaty topping, pepperoni popping. Give me that crispy, Kobe, only Papa John's. Better get you some. Try the trio before it's gone.
Audible is your prime suspect for bone-chilling, mind-bending audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. James Patterson's The Justice, George Orwell's 1984, Desperate Deadly Widows. It's a killer lineup on Audible.
Dancing pandas don't sell CRM. Ads on LinkedIn do. With 70 million decision makers, LinkedIn is the place to be to be.
This is Formula One!
The Stanley Cup playoffs continue.
We welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium. I mean, what a day to be at the ballpark.
Yeah.
We're playing two. It's a doubleheader. The weather is gorgeous. Got the grill up in the outfield. Chefing up some burgers is what it looked like. Facts and Childress, Mark Childress on the call. And that's probably my favorite part of this venue here at Furman University is you can pull up your car in the outfield. Admission is free. And you can pull up a chair, sit in the outfield, get some good softball. Especially on a day like this, nothing better to do.
If they want to peel us off a couple of burgers up here in the booth in between games, we're not arguing, right?
Oh, yeah.
They look good.
No arguments for that, absolutely. As Axelson for the Terriers gets back to work in the circle. She's been impressive over the course of this game, but her Terriers lineup has not been able to produce. They still trail at 1-0. Count now even at 1-1 to the second baseman, Ansley Chang. Let's take a look at the lawn chairs lined up along the outfield fence. See some Terrier fans that have made that 30-plus mile trip from Spartanburg.
38.3.
38.3 as Chang lifts one. A little blooper. And it will be out number one at the bottom of the fourth.
So Chang got a little bit under that one. And again, I've been extremely impressed with Margaret Axelson. She did give up the one single to Ashley Likens since that triple back in the first to Kylie Perry. But you can see why she is so high up in many Southern Conference pitching categories. She's got some really good stuff.
First pitch swinging for Hannah Poole. Lifts one to the shortstop Greenwood. Quickly retired for out number two.
She's got that ball that almost cuts in on the right-handed batters where she's pitching inside, but it feels like a lot of late movement off of it, and it's hitting them right off of their fists, right? They're not getting a good barrel on the bat, and it's led to some easy pop-ups and quick outs.
Ainsley Yoshizumi playing left field for the Paladins today. Takes strike one, and once again, Mark, Axelson's efficiency in the circle for the Terriers, just 54 pitches, almost through 4 innings of work. She's got those 3 strikeouts and has yet to surrender a base on balls, which has been pretty consistent with what she's done all season for Wofford. That one got away from her and the count even at 1-1.
We've seen that a few times today. We haven't seen a whole ton of the big off speed from her. A pitch she's having a little bit of trouble dialing in today, but she hasn't really needed it, to be honest.
Pitches with more velocity have been at a premium here today, and once again delivers a strike. 1-2. Now the count to Yoshizumi, who's going to have to swing anything close.
He's calling that high strike, and he's doing it consistently all day, but that's a dangerous game to play, going for that belt-high fastball or off-speed pitch. If you don't hit your spot exactly, watch out.
1-2 from Axelson. Yoshizumi slaps it to third. Parker fires across the diamond, and we're off to the top of the 5th inning. Another pitcher's duel on our hands at Pepsi Stadium. Furman 1, Wofford 0 on ESPN+.
This is not the first all-electric car. That's because no BMW sees the road until it's reached the ultimate standard, our own. A standard that demands that every BMW drives and feels exactly like a BMW should. Unparalleled performance and precision handling made possible by electric engineering. But isn't that what you'd expect from the ultimate electric driving machine? Take advantage of exceptional offers on the BMW electrified fleet.
Spink's chicken tenders aren't just fast and fresh. They're crispier, crunchier, juicier, saucier, spicier, legendary-ier. Oh, so many options. One easy stop. Spink's, making life easier. Spink's drinks aren't just fast and fizzy. They're fruitier, chewier, bolder, creamier, slushier, bigger, refreshing-ier. Oh, so many options. One easy stop. Spink's, making life easier.
Great seats at a great price. Get them safer, simpler, and smarter with Ticket Smarter. A proud partner to the biggest names in live sports and events, including ESPN events and iHeartRadio. Ticket Smarter has seats for over 125,000 live events and 48 million tickets for sale. All backed with the Ticket Smarter 100% ticket guarantee. Thinking about your next great live event? Think smarter. Think Ticket Smarter. Get your tickets your way, guaranteed, at ticketsmarter.com.
We welcome you back in to Pepsi Stadium here in Greenville, South Carolina. SoCon softball on ESPN Plus, brought to you by Ingles. Laura Lee Scott will trot back out. Her 5th inning of work. She's been locked down in the early going for the Paladins.
Yeah, Scott, again, not exactly where she wants to be on the pitch count, and she's not been quite as razor sharp on the balls and strikes. But she's in good shape here, hasn't given up any runs for the first 4 innings. This is the 2nd time through the lineup for Wofford, and she's been solid against them. Has given up just the 1 hit and retired 4 of the first 5 batters. Now you're on the lower part of the lineup with Bigham, Maddox, Henson, and then Petty in the 9-hole if anybody reaches base.
First pitch of the 5th inning is a ball outside to Bigham, first baseman for the Terriers. 187 batting average on the season. Big moment here, and see if she could potentially get some offense sparked for her Terrier squad here in the 5th inning. Takes a big cut.
Yeah,
count
nice
even at 1-1.
Nice one.
And you take a look down into the Paladin dugout. Bizarre is still standing out there, but she's no longer warming.
Yeah.
So we had some questions with what the leash would be like on Laura Lee Scott, because in a lot of these weekend doubleheaders, Coach Johnson Whitfield has used Scott in both games. But as Mark alluded to, has only allowed 1 hit and has seemingly been locked in. Bigham does a good job of lifting this Terrier bottom half of the order up with a hit from the 6-hole. Delivers a single into left field, and it's a good start for Wofford in the top of the 5th.
Yeah, it's a great start. Are you going to bunt her over, get her in scoring position is my guess here. Runs at a premium for the 2nd straight day in Pepsi Stadium.
So a big at-bat now looming for Maddox. Just the 8th at-bat of her season for Wofford. And as you see, the corner infielders are creeping in. They're expecting a bunt. Maddox takes strike 1 on the outside corner.
Again, you've got first base and third base crashing. You saw Laura Lee Scott going over to cover third base. You'll see Chang at 2nd coming over to cover first base. Everything's got to be in perfect synchronicity in the infield, because you want to make sure you get 1 out if she bunts, right? You're going to want to get the out at first for sure.
Bunt is popped up into the netting. Count now to 0-2. So yeah, that's a big swing. Obviously, if you bunt it foul with 2 strikes, it's an automatic strikeout. So needing to put the ball in play in any fashion here is Hannah Maddox.
Infielder's back a little bit, but 2-strike bunt would not be unheard of. Let's see what she's up to.
Fabio and Perry have adjusted their positioning. We'll see what the counter from Maddox is. Takes a big cut back into the netting once again, and Laura Lee Scott will have to fire again from an 0-2 count.
Again, you haven't had Laura Lee Scott under much duress at all in this game. She had the leadoff walk. She had in the 1st inning. She had the 1-out double in the 4th. Haven't been a whole lot of base runners. It's just the only 2 base runners before this inning that Scott's had to deal with.
Scott looking for strikeout number 3. Tried to go low, couldn't get Maddox to chase, and the count to 1-2.
Bigham's got 2 stolen bases in 2 attempts this season.
One-two. Swing and a miss. Maddox could not check her swing in time. It's the 3rd strikeout of the afternoon for Laura Lee Scott, and an important out number 1 and momentum lift for the Paladins here in the top of the 5th.
Boy, Maddox was clearly expecting something else. She was way out in front of that, tried to check her swing. That is the right call. Broke her wrist a little bit on that, and an important first out for Laura Lee Scott.
So a big moment here for a freshman for the Terriers. Seems like a common theme over the course of this weekend. A lot of big spots for development and experience. This time, Linson, the backstop, is the number being called. She fouls off the first pitch, and Scott in the driver's seat, 0-1.
Again, when you've been struggling to score runs, you cannot afford to not be able to get that runner over right there, right? You had 2 opportunities to bunt. You couldn't get the ball into play. Then you end up striking out. So a real wasted out, right? You would have given an out to get the runner down to second base, but you could not do that. And now you're behind the 8 ball a little bit.
Big task for Linson at the dish. She fires one past Fabio. Finally, some offensive answers for Wofford. A nice job of getting the ball in by Yoshizumi in left field, but not before the 8-hole freshman for the Terriers provides the biggest hit of the series from the foes for Spartanburg. Runners on second and third, just 1 out.
Yeah, huge play there. And a really good play by Yoshizumi as you saw her out in left field slide to keep that ball in front of her. She did not want the ball to get past her. It was going to be an automatic run. She kept the ball in front of her, hopped up, made a good throw back in the infield to keep that runner at third base. We've got a pinch runner going into the game at second base. That appears to be number 11, Lily Compton.
So Compton will take her post on second base, pinch hitting for Linson. Not super uncommon, especially in the softball world, to give your catchers some breath on the base paths. They go for the faster Compton at second, and the tying run just 60 feet away in form of Bigham at third base. Big task here for Scott. Petty, blooper. It's going to drop. Likens will come up and not even bother firing. And the Terriers are on the board for the first time in this series against the Paladins. Bloop hit from the 9-hole answers the call.
I tell you what, a little bit unlucky there. Laura Lee Scott got very soft contact on it, but she just hit it in the perfect place. This game is tied at 1, and Wofford looking to hang a crooked number here in the 5th.
As we take another look, it was a good read off the end of the bat from the Terrier base runners as Bigham came around to score. It's now Compton 60 feet away from giving Wofford their first lead of the series. And there's the hero in Callie Petty on first base. Lineup now flipping for the Terriers as Laura Lee Scott talking things over with her infield. Feels like a big potential turning point in not just the game, but the series here in the top of the 5th inning.
It's going to be interesting to see if the infield's playing in. They are a little bit. You've got a lot of speed here with Gracie Parker at the top of the lineup.
Runners on the corners for the leadoff hitter for the Terriers. How quickly a game can turn. Tried to lay the bunt down. There's no one covering second base. And Petty will take that uncontested. So now same situation for Laura Lee Scott with runners on second and third and just 1 out.
Can't imagine that was a squeeze play bunt. I'm wondering if she was just showing bunt to make it that much harder for the catcher to have to make their decision. But now they've got 2 runners in scoring position, so a base knock could give Wofford a 2-run lead.
Scott trying to hunker down and get some outs. Mr. Spot on the outside corner, count to 1-1.
Again, Olivia Henson with the double. Just a big turning point in this game to get the runners in scoring position. Petty, not the hardest hit ball all season, but hit it in the right place to get the RBI. And the Terriers hunting more here in the top of the 5th.
(1-1). And it looks like a time might have been called from an umpire prior to that pitch. That was Monique McMurray at third base who interjected and said something. The count, it was now going to go to 2-1. So we take another look. It's like McMurray was the one that intervened. That one fouled off down the right field line, so Scott just 1 strike away from retiring Parker. And once again, the magnitude of this at-bat is significant.
Yeah, it's interesting. Laura Lee Scott fairly methodical in the circle for the Paladins, and I guess it got the better of her. She's going to hopefully be able to work around that mistake if you're a Paladin fan. Big moment here.
2-2 to Parker. Put it in play. Third base line. And it looks like it's going to be ruled a foul ball. Instead, they're going to say that's fair. So it's going to be bases loaded. Nobody's going to move. And that actually stayed in play. A little bit of a late call by our third base umpire, but we'll take one more look at it.
There's a lot going on here with the base runner and with Fabio as she's trying to.
So Fabio actually.
Look at that.
I'm really surprised to see that the call there is that she's allowed to take first base. There was no call for obstruction, no call for interference.
Strange.
And that ball was tailing towards foul territory. So Wofford really catches a break in a lot of ways, and they now have the bases loaded as a result of it.
Yeah, they're going to call that a single, and again, that is very strange. I mean, she was going back to the bag, and she's got a right to go back to the bag. Fabio could have tried to step in a little bit, but a fortunate break, and the, at this point, 4th hit of the inning for Wofford.
1-0 count to Campbell. On the ground, Fabio made the tag and the diving play at third! In a season full of web gyms at the hot corner for Chloe Fabio, that one takes the cake, an emphatic double play to get the Paladins out of a bases-loaded jam. Off to the bottom of the 5th, tied on ESPN+.
So this is pickleball?
It's basically tennis for babies, but for adults.
It should be called wiffle tennis.
Pickle!
Yeah,
These guys are intense.
We got nothing to worry about. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
Got him.
Game.
Thanks for coming to our clinic. First one's free.
What's up, Auntie? Did you get the basketball shoes I need for tryouts this weekend?
Oh, dude,
It's okay.
I'm not going to be able to make it to Dick's this week.
You can just click on Dix.com.
Dicks.com. Dicks.com.
Hi, welcome to Dix.com.
Wow, they're beautiful.
Let's go shopping.
Are you kidding me? I'm in ball heaven. I like you. Look at all these cups. I really like you. I don't even live near water.
Whoa, these arrived so fast.
I know, right? You're about to get posterized. I'm going to shatter that glass.
Let's go.
Dicks.com.
We got a Subaru Forester Wilderness to discover all the places that make us feel something more.
Subaru is the National Park Foundation's largest corporate donor, helping expand access for all.
Get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2024 Forester. Going on now.
Chloe Fabio, fabulous, grabs the play, tags the runner, has the presence of mind to dive back to third base, knowing there's a fast batter at the plate. The unassisted double play by a third baseman, the big celebration afterwards. Send that one to ESPN. You will not see a more heads-up infield play made in college definitely college football, college softball, or college baseball this weekend.
Yeah, that's
unbelievable.
That's unbelievable from Fabio, and we rave about her a lot
Yes,
on these
we
broadcasts, and it's for plays like that. All season, she's impressed at the hot corner for the Paladins. So Wofford did tie the game up, but in an unorthodox fashion, somehow feels like the Paladins escaped that with the momentum, even though they surrendered the lead, just with the fireworks of that double play from Fabio, and Margaret Axelson quickly behind 2-0 in the count to the shortstop for Furman, Alex Rose-Molinar.
Yeah, complete reboot on this game now, right? Very good job by Wofford, but as you said, they kind of feel like they left some, right? They had 4 hits that inning and only scored 1 run. You had the strange situation over at third base with that ball where Fabio and the runner kind of collided, where she was trying to make the play. You had all kinds of opportunities to hang that crooked number, and you couldn't. So the Paladins still feel like they got away with one last half inning.
2-1 to Alex Rose-Molinar. Weak grounder. Parker ranging to her left, stumbling and firing across to get the speedy shortstop. And there's one down in the bottom of the 5th. Nice play at the hot corner for Wofford after that insane play from Fabio to conclude the top half of the frame.
Yeah, and we say this every game, like here's announcer cliche incoming right now. You make a great defensive play in the top half of the inning. It seems like you always come to the plate in the bottom half of the inning. Fabio obviously with a great play at third base. Now she's up at bat.
Yeah, and since we're giving Chloe Fabio all the deserved love today, a narrative that we've monitored over the course of the season, first 3 seasons, She was just a glove-first player as we take another look at this unbelievable defensive play. She's always had that type of fielding in her bag, but this year at the plate is where she's really taken a monumental leap forward. 3 straight seasons under 200 in the batting average category, and as you see right there, almost 270 batting average this year, as we're going to hope everything's okay with Lenzen behind the plate as she quickly goes to the dugout potentially for an equipment change. And yeah, I think that's what it was, getting a new helmet potentially behind the dish.
Yeah, Fabio's bad. Again, she was Southern Conference Player of the Week earlier this year. She just went on a reign of terror over one weekend, hung some big-time numbers, and that was good enough for SoCon Offensive Player of the Week. But, man, I mean, you could put just a highlight reel together that any college softball player would want of her plays in the field just this season in home games that you and I have done together. That was the best one of all. Again, the presence of mind to tag the runner, and she knows the person coming out of the box is really fleet of foot at first base, doesn't hesitate and dives back into third. Brilliant.
Fabio takes that 2-1 pitch too far inside, and something she's done effectively all year as well. Flip the lineup for the Paladins. They like using her in the 9-hole because it's kind of like a second leadoff hitter. Obviously, the batting average is good. The on-base percentage is better. 16 walks for Fabio in her senior campaign. Just 9 strikeouts on the season for an everyday player. That one catches the outside corner. Fabio thought she had her 17th walk of the season. Instead, going to have to battle on a full count against Axelson.
Yeah, she had to put that one back in reverse as she started down the line. It's a big pitch here, right? The Paladins would love to put some pressure on Axelson, try to get this lead back.
Payoff pitch to Fabio. Ball on the ground. Greenwood at short. Nice scoop. Nice fire. And 2 down quickly for Axelson in the bottom of the 5th. She's really locked it in and is in a groove for the Terriers.
Yeah, that is, let's see, 8 straight since Ashley Likens had a single back in the 3rd inning. And that was a really good play by Greenwood on that short hop, right? Those are ones that can eat you up as an infielder in college softball. Made a great play.
So lineup will flip for a 3rd time this afternoon in game 1 of the doubleheader. And it's Ashley Likens who had a single back in the 3rd. Bunt with 2 outs. It's rare, but it does happen. Likens is safe at first base. So once again, it's so easy to see. Oh, wow, she's going to be ruled potentially out here, as I think they might say that she left the batter's box while bunting before contact was made with the ball. That is going to be the exact call from our home plate umpire, potentially. Let's take one more look. Likens is having a discussion, and we're going to see if she left that left foot. Yes, she stepped over. So that's actually going to be a strike, not an out. Wofford had started running off the field thinking it was out number 3. Umpiring crew ushered them back on. Likens will try again from 0-1. And takes a cut at the 2nd pitch of the AB as well. And same result. Ashley Likens is going to be on base. And firing into second base with that track caliber speed, heads up base running. We see her steal 60 feet. It feels like every game, no different right there for Likens.
Again, it ends up being an advantage, and if you were trying to figure out what happened, again, Likens stepped outside of the batter's box to make contact with that bunt. That's an automatic strike. That's why she came back before that. Then she hits the bloop double down the left field line, and suddenly you have maybe the fastest player in the Southern Conference in scoring position, Caitlin Goldwait at the plate.
And a reminder that Likens has already poached a stolen bag in this game. Goldwait right back up the middle. It's going to be tough to get her. Likens, big-time round over third base, scurries back, but it's another infield single for Caitlin Goldwait, and the 2 speed demons for the Paladins show what makes them so dangerous at the top of the order for Stacey Johnson-Whitfield.
Man, I was pointing when that ball went over the pitcher's head at Likens. If they would have just sent her stone cold to home, it would have been really interesting. That would have been an incredibly aggressive play to try and make. But Paladins suddenly have runners on the corners for Sylvia Burrows. We're going to have a huddle in the circle. We're going to have a huddle for the Paladin players as well. And again, Goldwait with her 2nd hit of the day. That's 5 hits for the Paladins, 2 by Likens, 2 by Goldwait.
Goldwait, so speedy.
Yeah.
And that 2-hole in Likens, obviously, I'm not sure why The coaching staff for the track and field team hasn't inquired about Ashley Likens here, maybe a dual sport athlete in her senior season.
Is there a 60-foot dash?
Yeah.
I mean, if there was.
Then she would win that.
Yeah, watch out.
Yeah, absolutely. So Likens will be posted on third base, Goldwade on first base. Don't think that the Terriers are going to make a pitching change here. I think they just wanted to calm Axelson down.
Yeah.
We referenced that coming into this inning, was it 8 straight Paladins had been retired for Axelson? So this has been a little bit against the norm after she locked into a groove, but this is a big AB here for Burroughs.
Yeah, it is, and again, neither ball was hit very hard, right? Likens hit a little bloop, and Goldwade just drove one into the ground, into the right place. So a big moment for Sylvia Burroughs.
Burroughs, first pitch swinging, left field, and taken away from extra bases as Campbell ranged back on the warning track to make the snow cone grab. We're off to the top of the 6th as Axelson wiggles out of a jam. Furman 1, Wofford 1 on ESPN+.
So this is pickleball?
Pickle!
Oh, these guys are intense. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
Here's to a new feeling. One where comfort breaks limits. Where fit follows your definition.
Hey, you cannot leave the lemons in the
Flexibility brings power. And every move feels weightless.
Hey, Shayla.
Here's to unlocking absolute confidence. Get into it. Lululemon Align.
Before you use AI to transform business, accelerate growth, predict trends, you need to begin with trust. Introducing Watson X Governance, helping you govern any AI as data, models, and policies change, so you can scale it responsibly.
Here we go.
Let's create AI that begins with trust with Watson X Governance. IBM, let's create.
Get everything you need to shine. Or pick it up at one of our 6,200 stores. Spruce up hotspots and refine the details. It's easy to shine with AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
We welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium, and man, this game has taken a turn after an uneventful first 4 innings. Inning number 5 provided some all-time chaos both ways. Faxon Childress, Mark Childress on the call for this rivalry matchup. Game 1 of a doubleheader here today at Pepsi Stadium, and both of these pitchers have been locked in all afternoon. Scott, 5 innings pitched, only 1 run allowed for the Paladins. Looking to continue that trend will be a bunted strike 1 from Greenwood, the shortstop for Wofford.
Yeah, it feels like a big inning for both pitchers, right? Laura Lee Scott and Margaret Axelson. You're going through the lineup now for the 3rd time if you're both of these pitchers. And again, Laura Lee Scott was so lights out the first couple of innings, been knocked around a little bit the last 2. See if she can get it back in order here.
0-1 from Scott to Greenwood. Missed outside, and the count now even at 1-1. It was the Greenwood double in the 4th inning that felt like it started to spark some momentum finally for the Terrier offense. They weren't able to capitalize back in the 4th, but they were in the top of the 5th to draw even at 1-1 on the scoreboard. Scott tried to go low and outside, missed her spot. The count now 2-1.
Scott's consistently been going out there all game and consistently not getting that call all game. And again, you're not necessarily trying to get a called strike. A little bit of it is trying to get the batter off stride just a tad, have him slap one over in the infield on the right-hand side for an easy out. But you keep getting behind in the count, and you got to be careful. Now she's behind 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1 the count. Don't want to issue a leadoff base on ball. Scott's only walked 1 Terrier today, and it was the first batter of the game.
Yep.
So she's done a good job of pounding the strike zone since. (3-1) from Scott, right down the pipe, and 3-2 now the count.
Do you have the guts to throw the off-speed 3-2? Interesting position here, and the decision to make for Laura Lee Scott.
3-2 inside corner, strike 3. The payoff pitch is a beauty from Laura Lee Scott, and that is strikeout number 4 for the pitcher for the Paladins.
Yeah, it comes at a perfect time as well. You don't want that leadoff runner on. Everything magnified here now in the late innings of a tie game. Nice pitch from Scott.
So now the cleanup batter for the Terriers, Abby Gossett. We mentioned her recent string of production. 0 for 2 this afternoon with the ground out and a fly out, and takes ball 1 outside.
Scott is nothing but consistently methodical in the circle. She takes her time. She grounds herself the way that she wants to before she makes the pitch. That's not a criticism at all. Everybody's different, right? See a lot of pitchers, and Axelson's a little bit like this. Get ball, throw ball. Axelson will take a little bit of time sometimes if she doesn't throw the ball the way she wants. She misses one way outside or something. She'll take some extra time. But seeing a little bit of varying styles here that work for both pitchers.
Good point there, Mark. Took a look at Fabio at third base. 2-1 the count as Scott missed low. And I think it was Mackenzie Newcomb last weekend for Samford.
Yeah.
Their ace. She worked quicker than anyone I've ever seen.
Yes.
She was like, get ball immediately. I'm right on the mound. I want to throw it. And Scott has always been a player that's worked a little bit slower, and can't question the method to the madness. It's been a very successful junior year for her here in Greenville. Popped up first base line. Perry jumping. Did she corral it? She did not, it appears. So that will be an eventful strike, too, by way of a foul ball, but she was trying to go up like Jalen Slauson, the Paladin men's basketball legend, and make a leaping play. Take another look.
I don't know if the ball hit the wall before it hit her glove, but she's right up against the wall. Just hit off the heel of her glove. It was almost perfect. Great reaction in the back from some of the fans here. That would have been out number 2. And Abby Gossett gets another pitch. Another life, if you will, here.
Lifeline for Gossett. Can she convert? That one was fouled on the third base line as Fabio knew it instantly. Nice at bat here from the freshman. We'll do it again from 2-2, but really working the count. And more importantly for the Paladins and Coach Johnson Whitfield, who's having to monitor this situation. What's the leash like on Laura Lee Scott? Who are you going to go to out of the bullpen? Emmy Bizard is usually the candidate. Got to wonder when we're going to see 0-0 for the Dens.
Yeah, I want to say Laura Lee Scott's laboring a little bit, but the results definitely don't feel that way. That ball hit really hard off of Yoshizumi's glove in left field. She gets the ball back in quickly. That's going to be a double, probably, and another runner in scoring position for Wofford.
Yeah, Scott left that one over the middle of the plate, and Gossett was out in front of the off-speed, but not too far out in front of it. Cracks the code for extra bases, and all of a sudden, with the pitch count elevating, with Laura Lee Scott starting to struggle a little bit compared to the first couple of innings, Mark, I think it's fair to ask when we are going to see Bizard in the circle.
We've got a pinch runner coming into the game for Wofford. That appears to be number 7, Desiree Devine. What a great name that is. So she's in scoring position now.
Devine can really run. We saw her pinch hit yesterday in the 7th inning as Wofford was trying to get back into the ball game. So now it's 120 feet away from the lead for Devine and the Terriers.
And they're going to call that a 2-base error on the left fielder on Yoshizumi. And again, you talk about this being a game of inches, right? Perry like an inch from catching that ball over by the wall over there near first base. That would have been the second out of the inning, but instead she gets another at bat, hits one, it hits off Yoshizumi's glove out in left field for the error, and suddenly Wofford's cooking with gas.
It will be a pinch hitter for the Terriers now as well, so sneaking into the game in a big moment is Bergen Needles, the freshman from Ashburn, Virginia, 5'5". Big moment for the freshman. Came in for Towery as you look at Coach Johnson Whitfield. Calling in the signs with appears to be Taylor Miller over there.
Bergen Needles, what a great name. I mean, everyone's just calling her Needles, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
That's like the perfect last name, especially if you're in sports.
It's 1-1 to Needles after a pinch hit, pinch run combo from Chelsea Butler. Missed upstairs and outside, and the count to 2-1.
Devine taking a big jump off of second base is bugging Burrows behind the plate just a little bit. She's trying to be a nuisance out there. Any little jumping around you can do to gain an advantage. So, big moment here. Feels like the next team that scores is going to win this ball game.
That one fouled off.
And things have slowed down considerably here in the last half inning or so.
Take another look. Needles. That one hurt a little bit more than a shot typically does.
Yep. And again, if she were to get a hit here, Needles threads one through the infield. You see what I'm saying? I hope you've got it ready and teed up if needed.
2-2 from Scott. Upstairs, and the count will now go full at 3-2.
So that's pitch number 101 for Laura Lee Scott. It's a warm day today. Temps in the low 80s. I think it was 83 degrees at first pitch today. Scott, the workhorse, trying to grind through the 6th inning here for Furman.
Payoff pitch. Needles fouls one down the first base line. Similar location for Perry. Went crashing into the dugout. And it was almost eerie how similar that play was to the one we saw earlier in the inning. So Perry shooting 0 for 2 on leaping grabs up against the dugout, but 2 valiant efforts nonetheless.
She should have had the first one. I don't think anyone could have grabbed that second one, but the ball about 2 feet from where the other one was. That was really strange.
So Needles, the freshman, has put together one heck of an at-bat at a crucial juncture in this ball game. Can she cap it off with a bang? Third base line and foul. We'll do it again from 3-2.
Everything just magnified. I know it's the second time I've said it here in the late innings of a tie game. It's an important game of the series, right? The Paladins, after winning game 1 yesterday, win the series against Wofford if they can hold on today. If Wofford could find a way to scratch out a win, suddenly they can win the series this weekend. And these are 2 teams separated by just 1 game in the Southern Conference standings.
Payoff pitch. Needles takes ball 4 low. All momentum pointing towards the Terriers' side. It's now 2 on, 1 out in the top of the 6th with Scott's pitch count continuing to elevate. Looks like she will have the leash for at least 1 more batter, as it'll be Allie Bigham. And a big spot for Wofford. Bigham had a single back in that 5th inning where they were able to play to run and finally get to Scott. Scott will look to get her revenge right here, but missed outside for ball 1.
Singled and scored the 1 run of the game for Wofford. And here comes Stacey Johnson-Whitfield now. I don't know if that's going to be it or not for Laura Lee Scott.
Coach
she took off her mask like it might be, but she may just be trying to calm her down a little bit. Ask her if she's got enough gas left in the tank.
A lot of the times, Coach Johnson-Whitfield will come out and talk before the eventual hook. So it's probably just asking Laura Lee Scott how she's feeling.
I might be asking her, hey, have you heard the whole new double album from Taylor Swift? Have you had a chance to listen to both? You never know.
It was Taylor Swift Day yesterday at the ballpark.
You come out there and just distract her a little bit, right? And let her take a deep breath. And it looks like, I mean, she's taken a couple of big, you can see like her whole chest heaving up like, like some really deep breaths. This has been a lot of work she's had to do today with 105 pitches in the warm temps.
Especially rivalry matchup, inaugural series between 2 teams with so much history between these 2 programs athletically. Not a lot of love lost between Greenville and Spartanburg. Laura Lee Scott will look to recompose herself and wiggle out of this jam. 1-0. Devine off to the races in third base. Rose Molinar couldn't corral it. It's the 13th steal of the season in 14 attempts for Devine. Leads the team now with 13 bags swiped, and it's the first for Needles down to second base. As you take another look, it looked like the throw was in time, but a lot to ask with the bunt showing, and Molinar's got to cover and then apply the tag on such a fast base runner. Didn't seem like it was destined to get her at third base.
And Chelsea Butler continues to be very aggressive on the base paths, putting more pressure now on Laura Lee Scott.
1-1. Fouled off into the netting, and the count will go to 1-2. And also, Mark, just blindly surfing through the box scores and the stats over the course of the season, Coach Butler has not been aggressive on the base pass this year for the Terriers. I think that's going to show even how more impressive it is. She's switching up her usual methods because she senses the importance of base runners. She senses the urgency of this rivalry series, and Wofford is desperate to grab game 2. Unfortunately, a swing and a miss for the Terriers as Bigham whiffs on an outside heater. Big out for Laura Lee Scott, her 5th strikeout of the afternoon, and there's quickly 2 down now. Feels like a whole different situation in the top of the 6th.
It does. Her 2nd strikeout of the inning, and like you said, 5th of the game. She'd be out of the inning now if it wasn't for the error on the left fielder. So Hannah Maddox has a chance to do some big-time damage here. Maddox struck out her last time up.
That one in there for strike 1 to Maddox, the right fielder. We mentioned hasn't seen a ton of game action over the course of the season. 0 for 2 in the afternoon. This is actually just her 9th at-bat of the year. Has a chance to potentially give her team a win in the win column if she's able to deliver a hit. Furman's only got 6 outs of offense left to play with if the Terriers can snatch the lead. Scott missed her spot by a thin margin right there to move the count to 1-1.
Yeah, the biggest moment at the plate of her career here probably at this point, with a chance to win or to at least take a 2-run lead here in an upstate rivalry game, Southern Conference game.
One. Checked her swing. Good take from Maddox. Count to 2-1. And mark something to monitor as well. Over the course of the season, the bottom of the order hasn't been overly productive for the Terriers. They weren't yesterday. Linzen and Petty, the 2 that really answered the call for the Terriers, are lurking in the shadows right here. So you don't want to issue a base on balls if you're Laura Lee Scott and have a familiar foe that's had some success come up. Bombed into right field. On her horses is Poole, and Laura Lee Scott impressively works her way out of the top of the 6th inning unscathed. Scoreline remains at 1-1 in this rivalry matchup. Headed to the bottom half of the frame on ESPN+.
When you look at a diamond, what do you see? A multifaceted stone of remarkable strength, formed under intense pressure to shine brighter than all the rest. Hard edges, clean lines, with a fire inside. When you look at a diamond, what do you see? Ingalls, proud sponsor of Furman Athletics.
You are the North Star, the guiding light for the ones you love. They watch, they learn, they do what you do. And when you take care of yourself, they can stay healthy and strong like you. You are the center of their universe, and the first step to their good health is yours. Bon Secours, primary, specialty, and emergency care. Healthcare for the universe of you.
Hey, grab me one too.
We welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium, another installment of college softball presented by Ingalls on ESPN+, in a rivalry doubleheader that is tied late in this game. Needles, that we saw pinch hit in the previous inning for the Terriers, will take over for Towery in center field. So she pinch hits, she stays in the game in center. Only change for Coach Butler as Perry lofts the first pitch directly to the second baseman, Petty. Axelson stays in her groove, and there's quickly one down in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, we see the pitch count difference, right? Laura Lee Scott up close to 110. And again, pitch count doesn't matter at the end of the day. All that matters is the box score. But Axelson doesn't look like she's having to labor at all. It's just 73 pitches here in the 6th inning. You've mentioned efficiency for her a couple of times today, and she gets a quick out number 1 here in the 6th.
So it's a freshman in a big spot. Stop me if that sounds familiar.
Yeah,
it feels like that's every other AB for Wofford. This time for the Paladins, it's the lone freshman in the lineup, Ansley Chang. It's down 0-1 in the count, but would love to potentially get some late heroics sparked for the Paladins. Could win the series with a win in this game, too, as that one fouled down the third base line, and the count moves to 0-2.
We're seeing Axelson out in front in the count against almost every batter versus Scott being behind in the count. I've been really impressed with Axelson so far today. The one mistake she made was to Perry back in the first inning for the RBI triple.
0-2. Fouled off by Chang. Coach Johnson-Whitfield emphatically clapping on the first base line, pleased with the battle that her freshman is displaying.
You got Poole and Yoshizumi coming up after this. Some nice big bats if Chang can get on base.
Chang lifts one down the right field line. And a nice play giving chase from Maddox. Now 2 down in the bottom of the 6th. And once again, Axelson continuing to work with elite efficiency in the circle for the Terriers.
Yeah, a good quick out number 1, followed by a pretty quick out number 2. And if you're Furman, you don't want to go a quick 1-2-3 and put Laura Lee Scott right back out there in the circle. We are seeing Riccardi up in the bullpen, but you like to be able to take a breather a little bit because the last couple of innings for Furman out in the field, a lot of pressure on him.
Strike 1 delivered to Hannah Poole. And Mark, an interesting trend I'm now picking up on. Once again, neither of us are big math guys. 5 through 9 in the Paladin order is now a combined 0 for 11 after that out from Chang. They've got to have some more production from this bottom half of the lineup. And Poole is quickly down 0-2, 2 strikes from Axelson.
Yeah, 4 of the 5 hits in the game for Furman come out of the 1 and 2 spots with Likens and Goldwaite. You'd like to find a way to get some runners on and get Likens and Goldwaite up again next inning if you can't scratch out one here in the 6th.
Ball on the ground. And Poole will live to see another day as that one was far foul down the third base line.
It's just been wonderful work in the circle by both Axelson and Laura Lee Scott today. You saw it yesterday as well. 2 back-to-back pitchers duels here in Pepsi Stadium.
Checked her swing, held up in the count to 1-2.
All right, she wanted to. That one was way outside. She's glad she did not. Poole's got a little pop in her bat. You see the 3 home runs.
That one outside in the count even to 2-2. We see the Paladins get 2 out rallies sparked a lot when they're trying to rally the troops late in games. Poole would love to do that here and get on base for Furman. 2-2 from Axelson, who's been in a groove. Poole continuing to battle. Nice AB here from the right fielder.
Yeah, it really is. This is a battle of wills right now.
Two-two. Checked her swing. Count goes full to 3-2.
That's the most difficult thing to do, man, checking your swing. As we're taking a look at the one before this, fouled one right between her legs, almost taking out the coaching staff for the Terriers.
Watch out, Coach Butler.
Yeah.
Make sure everybody's okay over there on the visitor side. That one chopped to short, scooped. Greenwood. Poole is safe. Interested to see how this is scored. I feel like it would be pretty harsh scoring if they called that an error.
We saw Greenwood make a similar play earlier, and remember I called her out on how difficult those short hops are to be able to play, especially when you're running in and crashing on the ball. I think that is going to be a single for Poole, and the Paladins have a base runner here in the bottom of the 6th. Yoshizumi, again, had that ball carom off of her glove in left field that they scored an error in the top half of the inning. Did not cost her team a run, but she would love to get a little bit of redemption here, and they do give Poole a single on that, as they should. The 6th hit of the game so far for the Paladins, against 5 for the Terriers.
Poole is 6 for 7 on the season with stolen bases. And Coach Butler wants to talk to Axelson in the circle. Maybe just calming her pitcher down. I can't assume there's a change that's in order with the groove that she's been in. Her line reads 5 2/3. 6 hits allowed, only that 1 run. 3 strikeouts and no walks. She's been very, very impressive.
She would, and again, giving up the single there to Poole. Just doing a gut check. And everybody take a deep breath.
Ainsley Yoshizumi, the senior from Federal Way, Washington. Would be no better time for a massive hit for the senior. Takes ball 2 outside.
Poole's got 6 stolen bases on the season. Again, we talk about Johnson Whitfield loves to run a lot with 2 outs. I mean, a lot.
Poole has great speed. We saw her beat out the infield hit. See if her number's called over at first base. And as the count moves 3-0, 0 reason for Yoshizumi to swing the bat here.
No, I think he might even be taking 2 right now.
Yep. Especially after the mound visit with Axelson. Got to make her throw you a strike. And that one does catch the strike zone for strike 1 and 3-1 count. That appears to be Caitlin Laudick on deck. So she would be slated to pinch hit for the shortstop, Alex Rose Molinar. And I'd assume we'd see Christina McCoy or Chrissy Fleming as the subsequent defensive substitution if that were to happen. But instead, Yoshizumi lines out to Petty, and we're off to the top of the 7th from Greenville. Still knotted at 1 in this pitcher's duel from Pepsi Stadium.
Dad, don't forget about my new cleats.
Sweetie, I can't make it to Dick's this week.
Have you heard of Dix.com?
Have I heard of Dix.com? Have I heard of Dix.com? Whoa.
Don't overthink it. Let's go shopping.
Actually, what I need are some cleats.
How about one of these?
Great.
Done. Anything else?
No, golf club? Not
Yep.
for me.
Yeah,
For a friend.
of course, of course.
Anyone impressed with how fast that was?
Yeah,
I know. I went to Dix.com.
Thank you. I love you.
Well, I went to Dix.com. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, I told you about that.
So this is pickleball?
It's basically tennis for babies, but for adults.
It should be called wiffle tennis.
Pickle!
Yeah,
These guys are intense.
We got nothing to worry about. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
Got him.
Game.
Thanks for coming to our clinic. First one's free.
Some of the most brilliant minds in business. No, not you. Or you. You auto-track business income and expenses with QuickBooks. And you pay all your employees easily and accurately. And you have a business bank account with market-leading APY. Get the full picture of your business on one platform. Now with expert help when you need it. That's how you business differently.
We welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium. Emmy Bazard, the Saluda, South Carolina native who leads the SoCon in saves on in a big moment for the Paladins.
It is a big moment. That closes the book on Laura Lee Scott, who went 6 innings, gave up just the 1 run, and pitched really well. And a whole new ball game here, and all the pressure on both teams. 1-1 going to the 7th. You lead at the end of any inning for the remainder of this game, and you are a winner. So let's see what happens.
First pitch from Bazard is outside to the backstop for the Terriers. Olivia Linzen. Linzen had a huge double back in the 5th inning. Put runners on 2nd and 3rd with just 1 out for the Terriers, but they weren't able to strike for more than 1 run off of Laura Lee Scott as Bazard misses outside on the 2nd pitch as well.
And not what you want to see if you're Emmy Buzzard here. Hasn't found the strike zone yet. Base runners at a premium here in a tie game in the 7th. She pumps that one right in there.
Buzzard way to bounce back. Can't afford to give away base runners with the lineup slated to flip for the Terriers. Petty's on deck. She already has a hit in this ball game as well. Buzzard trying to keep Wofford off the base paths. succeeds for one more pitch as the count's now full.
That one was close. Haven't seen a whole lot of low strikes called today, and Linzen was thinking she was headed down toward first base. Big pitch here.
That one fouled off, and Linzen sees to fight another day. If there's been one major difference between the approach from Wofford yesterday to today, it's been the fact that these batters are much more willing to take and see pitches, work deep into counts, continue to battle. Tufts was very efficient in her complete game shutout yesterday. Wofford's made those adjustments. Linzen lifts one down the first base line and foul, almost an acrobatic play by a spectator over there. Couldn't quite get it. And
he's mad at himself, too.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't get a good break on the ball. It's a good battle here to start the 7th.
And all of that for a ball 4 upstairs. Easy take for Linzen. 8-pitch AB finds herself on first base and representing the go-ahead run, potentially the final inning. And Mark, this seems like a very clear and obvious spot for Petty to potentially lay one down, move her up 60 feet into scoring position.
Were you seeing me make the bunt sign here?
I did see you make the bunt sign.
I was making it repeatedly. Callie Perry does have the big hit of the game, the single and RBI back in the 5th inning to tie this game at 1. Getting that runner over to second base would be huge here. So let's see if Petty is bunting. She has to be. I'm going to be very surprised if she is not. And color me surprised, she is not. Good stop there by Burrows to keep it in front of her. Linzen 1 for 1, stealing this season. Petty's 3 for 3, so some decent speed here.
Ball on the ground. Big time answer of the call from the 9-hole. This Linzen-Petty combo has really turned the tides for the Terrier offense at the bottom of the order in 3 consecutive innings now. And it is now 2 on, no out against Emmy Bizard. And Gracie Parker ready for a ginormous AB in the leadoff spot for Wofford.
And that's why I am in the booth and not out coaching college softball, because I would have bunted there. And she quickly drove one into left field, and it's 2 on, nobody out. And again, do you have Parker bunting here to get both runners over? They are not. They are swinging the bats.
Out of qualified batters, this is the highest batting average in the Wofford order. 283 for the third baseman. She was moved up into the leadoff spot today for a reason. Also has 16 walks, just 8 strikeouts. This is your best shot at grabbing the lead if you're the Terriers. And she's quickly, in a very advantageous count, up 2-0.
Yeah, getting behind in the count. Larlee Scott dancing in those flames almost all game long. Buzzard's doing the same thing right now. As a hitter, you can be very selective and very aggressive on a 2-0 count.
And it's now 3-0 as Bizard has really worked her way into a pickle.
Yeah, got to assume Parker's taking here 3-0, but again, we've seen Coach Chelsea Butler be very aggressive on the base paths. Don't think she'll be swinging 3-0. She takes strike 1.
Yeah, good bounce back from Bizard. And once again, goes without saying, but the magnitude of this moment is huge. If Wofford were able to grab the lead in the top of the 7th, Furman would only have 3 outs in the bottom half of the frame to regroup. Way to work your way back into the count, Emmy Bizard. 3-2 now the count, it's full.
Yeah, got that high strike call. I've been seeing it all game long, but that's a dangerous place to throw one. And the biggest moment of the game right here. 2 runners on, nobody out. Full counts on a really good leadoff hitter for Wofford, Gracie Parker.
Strike 3 looking on the inside corner. Burrows firing her pitcher up in the battery, and a huge out number 1 for Emmy Bizard in the circle for the Paladins. Down 3-0 in the count to a K is ridiculous.
It is. I don't know what pitch she was looking for, but it certainly wasn't that one as she takes strike 3.
So going to have a pinch hitter now.
It appears so.
For the Terriers. It looked like a pinch hitter that we saw yesterday. Hope Engel had worked her way into the batter's box, and that is who it is, number 25. So we saw Chelsea Butler substitute ad nauseum yesterday. A lot of pinch runners, a lot of pinch hitters, and I think that's something a lot of coaches should do. Empty the clip, make a couple changes at the end of these games. She's doing the same thing again here today, and Hope Engel into a massive spot for the Terriers with 2 on, 1 out and a chance to grab the lead.
That first out, a huge one for Buzzard in the circle.
Engel 212 at average, 333 OBP on the season, and takes strike 1 of her 100th at-bat of 2024 on the outside corner.
Buzzard settled down, again, ahead in the count versus this batter, which is very important. Now count even at 1-1. Very slow off-speed pitch in the dirt. And again, Burrows, that's now twice. She's done a good job of a ball in the dirt, keeping it in front of her and keeping those runners at first and second.
Zard gets the sign. Fires. Engel, ball on the ground, just what the doctor ordered for the Dens. Chang, Rose Molinar had no shot. Got to check the runner at third, and does. Back-to-back big-time execution from Emmy Buzzard. Runners on the corners with 2 outs, and it is now the freshman Greenwood in a big spot for the Terriers. We take another look at this nice play from Chang.
Man, a good play from Chang. I was a little bit surprised she went to second base with the throw, but saw she had enough time to get that second out. So a runner 60 feet away now. Runners at the corners. Caitlin Greenwood due up.
Number 13, Abby Campbell for number 25, Hope Engel.
So we're going to have Abby Campbell, who was subbed out to pinch hit Hope Engel, come back into the game. Once again, you've got a lot of flexibility with substitutions with the designated player rule in college softball, but Campbell will check back in as she's an elite base runner. They now have great speed on first, good speed on third, and Greenwood swinging the bat. Biggest play of the game. They got her at second. Alex Rose Molinar. A bullet to Ansley Chang, and Emmy Buzzard works her way out of a 2-on, no-out jam. Paladin's going to have a chance to walk this thing off in the bottom half, folks. Up next on ESPN+.
We got a Subaru Forester Wilderness to discover all the places that make us feel something more.
Subaru is the National Park Foundation's largest corporate donor, helping expand access for all.
Get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2024 Forester. Going on now.
This is it. One play. This is when we find out.
Hey, quick question. Student body math proficiency. What do we say? It's good, fair, satisfactory? What? Like a percentage, if you had to guess.
Get out of here, man.
Understood.
Hey, grab it.
Great student-teacher ratio.
Marcy! We gotta go! Marcy! We have got to go!
We bring you the real in-depth school info.
What were you thinking?
I don't know.
Ding dong.
Homes.com.
This is a hero walking his youngest down the aisle, which to his bladder feels like a mile. Yet he stands strong, dry, keeping the leaks only to his eyes. Depend. The only thing stronger than us is you.
The Stanley Cup playoffs continue.
This is Formula One!
Bottom of the 7th inning here at Pepsi Stadium. Fax and Childress alongside Mark Childress on the call on ESPN+. And Furman has a chance to win the series and take game 1 of the doubleheader here today in Greenville with a run across the plate. It's the senior from Phoenix, Caitlin Waddick, looking to get things started, and she takes strike 1 on the outside corner.
This will be inning number 7 of work for Margaret Axelson. Pretty good on the pitch count, just at 91. But it is a really warm day today, so we're going to keep an eye on fatigue from her as well.
That one misses outside. Count even at 1-1. Laudick is pinch hitting for the shortstop, Alex Rose Molinar, who just made that incredible play to get the Paladins out of that jam in the top half of the frame. Laudick will grab the bat and try and get something sparked here in the bottom half. Ahead in the count, 2-1.
I like the move, bring in the senior veteran. Laudick still rounding back into form. Good contact hitter, very quick as well.
2-1 to Laudick. Big time cut, big swing and a miss. Count back even now at 2-2 with Axelson's pitch count trending upwards towards triple digits.
Yep. Something to keep your eye on. She's showing no sign of fatigue right now. We did see Laura Lee Scott. It looked like she was laboring a little bit when she got right around that century mark.
Laudick lifts one into shallow left field. Coming in to make the routine play is Campbell. And there's quickly one retired in the bottom of the 7th. Going to bring up the senior Chloe Fabio now for the Paladins, and then the lineup destined to flip. But feels like a big out number 1 from Axelson after we saw how giving up the leadoff base runner affected Bizarre and all that chaos in the top half of the frame.
Yeah, it really does. And you've got Fabio now. Would love to get on base. Likens and Goldwait have 4 of the 6 Paladin hits today, so they've been your 2 most reliable at bats for Furman. And they have solved Axelson a couple of times. So she is desperate. Axelson's desperate to keep everyone off the bases before Likens and Goldwait come up.
1 to Fabio. It was a good frame job behind the dish from Linzen, but she didn't get the call. Count even at 1-1 to the senior. And Fabio's got the smallest strike zone on this team at 5'1". It's a big part of why she's got those 16 strikeouts, or 16 walks rather, to just 9 strikeouts. Back up the middle. There's the base runner the Dens needed. The senior, who's had so many web gems over the course of this series, comes through with her bat. And the lineup is now flipping to the part of the order that has given Axelson the most trouble over the course of the day. One of the biggest hits of the season for Chloe Fabio right there.
Yeah, it really was. Again, you want to keep the pressure on at all times. You want to keep the pressure on Axelson. A lot of slaps and bunts here from Likens. So Likens may find a way to get Fabio to second regardless here in this at-bat. She is bunting.
Bunt is down. Third baseman Parker fires Likens out, which is an impressive feat. So Likens had a single and a double in the 3rd and the 5th, is retired with a sacrifice. And there's now 2 down in the bottom of the 7th with the game-winning, series-winning run at second base in form of Chloe Fabio. Biggest AB of her career for Caitlin Goldwait.
And again, you see 2 coaches doing 2 different things, right? Butler choosing not to bunt in the top half of the inning. Johnson Whitfield decides to bunt.
Goldwait could change the trajectory of this series with 1 swing of the bat. Fouls that one off for strike 1. And once again, the inaugural series between these 2 teams, we know how deep the rivalry runs in these athletic departments. Furman would forever love to boast that they won the first series. It could happen right here. Fabio, stop sign is pumped. I think it was a smart decision. It was a great throw from Campbell out in left field, and Fabio didn't get a great break on it. Big time hit from Goldwait. Runners on the corners, still 2 down in the bottom of the 7th.
I am stunned they held her at third base, and I'm not saying it's the wrong call, but especially in that moment in the game, really good play by Campbell to get the ball back into the infield. And now Sylvia Burrows, who came up again back in the 5th inning with a couple of runners on and 2 outs and a chance to be a hero, can walk one off here.
And Sylvia Burrows, man, this is huge. This is huge. And you look at those conference records, that's another storyline in play right here, Mark. Strike 1's delivered on the outside corner. Furman goes to 6-8, and Wofford goes to 6-8 with a Paladin win right here. It would have them tied in the standings. Paladins would have the head-to-head advantage. This is an absolutely enormous at-bat for both Margaret Axelson in the circle and Sylvia Burrows at the plate. And the count's now even at 1-1.
Yeah, a ton riding on it, a ton of ways to get this run across as well. An error, a pass ball, or wild pitch could potentially get Fabio home as well. So you've got to be perfect in the circle if you're Axelson.
Can Burrows answer the call and give the Paladins a series win over their rivals? The 1-1. Missed it outside. Count to 2-1, and I'll tell you, Axelson doesn't have a lot of room for error. As we take a look at the SoCon standings and you see how jam-packed that middle of the league is, all these games matter so much down the stretch.
They do. This is a really big moment here. Burrows hit a line drive to left field last time up.
2-1, Burrows lifts it on the infield. Ranging to make the play is the shortstop Greenwood, and we have free baseball in game one, or free softball rather, in game one of the doubleheader here from Pepsi Stadium. Headed to the 8th inning from Greenville. Score is 1-1 between these rivals on ESPN+.
This is a hero walking his youngest down the aisle, which to his bladder feels like a mile. Yet he stands strong, dry, keeping the leaks only to his eyes. Depend. The only thing stronger than us is you.
Sorry, party's canceled. Waiting on the cable internet guy.
First, I had cable, but those cords weren't me. So he switched to T-Mobile home internet with 5G. What a feeling! I have Wi-Fi now. I need home internet from T-Mobile to fulfill my life.
Get home internet from T-Mobile now, just $50 a month.
Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power, brings you the Ego Power Plus string trimmer with power load technology. Feed the line, push the button, and get back to work. Ego, exclusively at Lowe's, Ace, and Ego authorized dealers.
Greenies makes dog food now?
You mean GREENIES?
Greenies Smart Essentials at PetSmart has science-backed nutrition with the taste they love.
Ready for your dreamies?
PetSmart, anything for pets.
We welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium here in Greenville, South Carolina. A good crowd on hand for this doubleheader between rivals Furman and Wofford. And we've got free softball in game one, top of the 8th inning here from Pepsi Stadium. And it's Abby Gossett, the cleanup hitter for the Terriers, playing that designated player role today for Coach Butler and taking ball one from Emmy Bizard on the outside.
So again, you've got Bizard, who worked her way out of a jam in the 7th. She'd love to do something clean here and put all the pressure right back on Wofford.
1-0. Swing. Fabio ranging. It's just unfair over there at third base at this point. Chloe Fabio making the hard look routine once again, and there's one down in the top of the 8th.
Yeah, again, we continue to just talk about how great of a glove she is. A vacuum cleaner over there at third. Makes another really nice play to have to range to her left a little bit, throw across her body, and a quick one out here in the 8th.
First pitch, swung on and fouled off by Needles, who was inserted into this game originally as a pinch hitter. She stuck around for Towery and is playing center field, holding down that 5 spot in the order for Coach Butler and co. Take a look at her line over the course of the season. Did walk back in the 6th inning in her lone plate appearance, so it was a productive pinch hit AB for Needles. Takes a swing here, got herself a base hit. Gonna be a close play, and she beats it out. She's got good speed. The rare right field to first base attempted gunning down as Poole was firing it quickly into Perry, but not before Needles takes her post on first base.
And again, a good job. Didn't hit it very hard, but popped one out into right field. And interesting that Poole was coming up throwing. It was a little bit closer than I thought it might be. But another base runner for Wofford. They've had tons of base runners the last 3 innings. Have only been able to scratch out that 1 run.
First baseman Allie Bigham getting things started. And first pitch swinging. That one was destined for the gap if Hannah Poole was not there. She camped out underneath it, and there's 2 down in the top of the 8th. Exactly what Bizard needed.
Yeah, Poole's probably worn out, having to charge that first one, then go way back on the second one. But a very efficient 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. We've got Hannah Maddox coming up next. She's got a couple of pop outs and a strikeout in her 3 plate appearances today.
Big at-bat here for Maddox. She takes strike 1, is 0 for 3 on the day. Just her 10th at-bat of the season. Mentioned how she was getting a rare start today, her 4th of the year. Can the typical rotation piece be the star in game 2 of this series? 0-1. Sharply hit through the hole. Maddox answers the call, has her 2nd hit of the season, and there's 2 on, 2 out now for the Terriers with the familiar face rolling around in Linzen. And the go-ahead run just 120 feet away in scoring position on second base.
And every half inning, it's just constant stress on both of these pitchers and infielders. You got to play perfectly at this point. Linzen's got a double and a walk. That's 8 hits now for Wofford, 8 hits for Furman as well.
First pitch swinging for Linzen. The freshman Chang scoops and fires, and the Dins will have another chance to walk it off in the bottom half of the frame. Headed to the bottom of the 8th on ESPN Plus, knotted at 1 in this rivalry matchup.
So this is pickleball?
Pickle!
Oh, these guys are intense. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
And we're back in third quarter planning. Adams is quarterbacking this project, and she is looking pretty tired, Jill.
She's stuck, Bill, and that deadline is looming.
It looms for us all, Jill.
Wait a minute. She just pulled up Grammarly.
Grammarly is an AI writing partner that helps you make your point.
She just asked Grammarly to help her write a summary of her doc, and she's shortening it. Look at that. She's done. And it's in!
It's in! It's a touchdown!
Download Grammarly for free.
Right now, you can get any large pizza for just $12 from Pizza Hut. Any pizza, any crust, $12. That means meat lovers, supreme, or create your own with any toppings, just $12. This deal won't last long, so order any way you want now.
That looks really high.
It is high.
Whenever you're ready.
Are there any snakes?
Nope.
You sure? Here we go.
It's time to push your limits.
You're doing great.
Whoa, is that a buffalo?
Babe, that's a cow.
The Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. Adventure on the edge.
Bottom half of the 8th inning on ESPN Plus. Free softball at Pepsi Stadium. Game 1 of a doubleheader between Furman and Wofford, capping off this series after Furman took game 1 yesterday. And it will be the preseason SoCon Player of the Year, Kylie Perry, trying to get things started. And Mark, as we know very well, she could win this with one swing of the bat.
Absolutely. She seems overdue for one as well. I have to go back and look to see when her last homer was. But always a threat to take 1 yard. Paladins could use it right here. 1 run wins it.
Perry will take the second pitch of the AB. Count now even at 1-1. And Margaret Axelson is just continuing to go, man. 7 innings pitched, no walks, 3 strikeouts, has surrendered those 8 hits, only 2 of which for extra bases. Pitch count well above 100 as you see that distribution. She's been pounding the strike zone. Perry into right field. Charging in to make the play is Maddox, and there's 1 down in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, since this is only the second game between these two teams, it's the first game ever to go to extra innings between these two teams. Wofford obviously starting their softball program a couple of years ago, but starting play this season in the Southern Conference. And Ansley Chang's walk-up song being, you know, what does the fox say? Always makes me smile. An excellent choice.
That one in there for a strike to Chang. Would be a great time for the first home run of her Paladin career. Chang lifts one. Deep right center field. Maddox has been active, called off by the center fielder Needles. It's almost a collision, but there's 2 down in the top of the 8th.
2 quick outs, and we didn't know if the century mark from a pitch perspective would wear down Axelson. Certainly doesn't look like it is right now, and there's 2 outs very quickly. Hannah Poole stepping in for the Paladins.
Poole takes the first pitch for a ball. She's not a stranger to home runs. She's got 3 of them on the season to go with her 5 doubles and 2 triples. Would love an extra base shot to get some 2-out magic work in here in the bottom half of the 8th. Second pitch from Axelson. Poole slaps one to the shortstop. Greenwood fires, and we are off to the 9th inning in game 1 of this doubleheader on ESPN+. The Paladins and the Terriers still knotted at 1.
At the end of 7 innings, it's Furman.
Give me that ooey gooey, crispy, crunchy, mouth watering. Give me that creamy, dreamy, meaty topping, pepperoni popping. Give me that crispy, coating, homie, Papa John's. Better get you some. Try the trio before it's gone.
We got a Subaru Forester Wilderness to discover all the places that make us feel something more.
Subaru is the National Park Foundation's largest corporate donor, helping expand access for all.
Get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2024 Forester. Going on now.
Audible is your prime suspect for bone-chilling, mind-bending audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. James Patterson's The Justice, George Orwell's 1984, Desperate Deadly Widows. It's a killer lineup on Audible.
At Apartments.com, every time a new listing is added, we get this alert, so no. Okay, everybody goes. Ooh, that's not right. Apartments.com, the place to find a place.
This is Formula One!
The Stanley Cup playoffs continue.
Top of the 9th inning, free softball at Pepsi Stadium. And folks, going to be here a heck of a lot longer. This is just game 1 of the doubleheader here today on ESPN+. And when you get this late, this deep into a ball game, Mark, it makes a loss just crushing and devastating having to play another game after this. Terriers and Paladins both want this one bad.
Oh, absolutely.
First pitch on the ground. Chloe Fabio, mean hop at third, fired across the diamond and got her in time. So the 9-hole hitter, Petty, who's had a very successful day with 2 singles and an RBI, is retired on 1 pitch by Bizard. Lineup will flip in the top of the 9th with 1 down, and Gracie Parker will have a crack at Emmy Bizard.
It's also, uncharted territory for both of these coaches, right? Normally you have the doubleheader on Saturday with game 3 on Sunday. Remember, they moved tomorrow's game 2 last night, so this is already game 2 and 3 of the series. And you're having to manage your pitching staff. Right now you're into extra innings. So my guess is that Buzzard was probably going to be the starter in game 2 today, or potentially eat some significant innings. If this continues to drag, you're going to have to change up what you do in game 3 of the series, game 2 today. So there's a lot of little factors that you don't think about that much, and some uncharted places for both of these coaching staffs to be in as well.
Count now at 1-1 to Parker. And Mark, that's a great point. A lot of nuances coaching-wise that go into this doubleheader, and how you want to prepare and how you want to use your bullpen. We've seen Angelina Riccardi, the freshman pitcher for the Paladins, warming up at points in the bullpen. We'll see if she's a name that's used later in game 1 or potentially in game 2. And Parker fouls that one off out of play. Count to 1-2.
It's the first extra inning game of the season that you and I have done together as well.
Was always bound to happen at some point. Yep. Gotta love some free softball, especially on a gorgeous day at the park like today. 1-2, misses outside. And if there's any advantage to the extra inning doubleheader, I guess it's the fact that the weather caused you to move game 1 up yesterday, because if this was the kick off the series, you could really start getting in a weird position with some of these pitch counts and how you want to manage innings and fatigue, especially on a couple hot days. As Parker lines one right at Poole, and there's now 2 down in the top of the 9th.
It was right at Poole, but she broke in on it and then had to break back again. She's an elite glove out there in right. And you do see some action in the Paladin bullpen back behind everything.
This is Angelina Riccardi out there. It didn't appear that she was throwing, but was in the bullpen rather, getting ready. As there's 2 down in the top of the 9th. First pitch to Abby Campbell is low. Campbell was pinch hit for in the previous time that 2-hole came around in the lineup card, and Hope Engel grounded out. Campbell was then reinserted to first base as a pinch runner, was not able to come around and score. Will get trusted with a big at-bat here in the top of the 9th with 2 down. 1-0 misses outside from Bizarre.
Bizarre got in trouble back in the 7th inning and got in a little trouble in the 8th as well. Had multiple base runners both innings. Looking for a clean 1-2-3 inning here.
2-0 from Bizarre. Campbell will take. Guess they're going to say it's a little bit downstairs. And Campbell now just 1 ball away from headed to first base with the heart of the order due up for the Terriers. Greenwood on deck in the 3-hole, already has a base hit today. Bizarre looking to work her way back into the count. Got it on the outside corner. 3-1. And also important that in this heat and in this doubleheader and long day, got to give a shout out to our umpiring crew as well.
Yeah.
3 umpires working 2 games of softball, ranging over 5+ hours. Not an easy task. They've done a great job. And Bizarre missed downstairs for ball 4. So after retiring the first 2 Terriers at the top of the 9th, she issues a free pass to Campbell. And now, Caitlin Greenwood, big spot for the freshman shortstop for Wofford.
Yeah, she's got a double today and 4 at-bats. Has struck out a couple of times as well. Wofford keeping the pressure on. Again, multiple base runners in the 7th, multiple base runners in the 8th. They've got a base runner on again here in the 9th. They've had trouble coming up with a big hit to get him in.
First pitch swinging. She's speedy. Fabio doesn't care. Great stretch by Perry across the diamond. And for the 3rd time, the Dins will have a chance to walk it off in the bottom half of the frame. Game 1 of the doubleheader has been a lengthy one. Bottom of the 9th up to ESPN+.
So this is pickleball?
It's basically tennis for babies, but for adults.
It should be called wiffle tennis.
Pickle!
Yeah,
These guys are intense.
We got nothing to worry about. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
Got him.
Game.
Thanks for coming to our clinic. First one's free.
Right now, you can get any large pizza for just $12 from Pizza Hut. Any pizza, any crust, $12. That means meat lovers, supreme, or create your own with any toppings, just $12. This deal won't last long, so order any way you want now.
Here's to a new feeling. One where comfort breaks limits. Where fit follows your definition.
Hey, you cannot leave the lemons in the
Flexibility brings power. And every move feels weightless.
Hey, Shayla.
Here's to unlocking absolute confidence. Get into it. Lululemon Align.
Audible is your prime suspect for bone-chilling, mind-bending audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. James Patterson's The Justice, George Orwell's 1984, Desperate Deadly Widows. It's a killer lineup on Audible.
We welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium here in Greenville, South Carolina. Here's how the top of the 9th ended, a true bang-bang play. And I'll tell you, Perry didn't drop down into the splits to stretch. Might have been safe at first base.
Yeah, I had asked her to see the replay coming back, right? Because I thought that she was safe at first base. That was the correct call. She was out. Really great play by Perry over there.
So Ainsley Yoshizumi, the left fielder for the Paladins, will be the first one in the bottom of the 9th with a crack at Margaret Axelson, who has had an unbelievable day in the circle for the Terriers. Now 8 innings pitched, still that 1 earned run, and no signs of slowing down for Axelson.
I was going to take a look at the stats here.
Ball on the ground from Yoshizumi and never had a chance of getting to first base. Hope she's all right. Coming up gingerly on that left ankle. It looked like she tripped as she was trying to get out of the box. But regardless, there's 1 down now in the bottom of the 9th.
Looks like we've got another pinch hitter coming in for the Paladins now.
Yeah, that might be potentially be the move here for the Paladins. As we take another look at Yoshizumi, hope her ankle's okay. I want to see what happened here. And looks like as she, yes,
yikes.
rolled that ankle on a divot in the batter's box. And you see she immediately pulled up gingerly. So not ideal right there for Yoshizumi. And we do have a pinch hitter, Mark. Good eye there. Number 21, Charlotte Brooks, in a big moment for the Paladins. And Mark, we alluded to the fact that Maddox on the visitors' side isn't super experienced, was taking her 10th at-bat of the season. This is just the 4th at-bat of the season for Brooks.
And her career, right?
Yeah.
Being a freshman, still looking for her first hit as a Paladin. Would love to get it right here.
And count now even as Axelson ran that one too far inside. 1-1.
So I was going to go look and see, well, there's no way that, Axelson has gone more than 7 innings in her career, right? She went 10 innings in her last start, a win against Western Carolina. So this is nothing here in the 9th inning at a pitch count of 116. And a lot of these stats, actually, it looks like her pitch count in that game was 135 is what she came up with. So not quite at a career or even season high for her here. That's interesting. In back-to-back starts, that's a lot of pitches.
Makes a lot of sense that Axelson's been this effective this late into the ball game. Does have experience navigating these waters in extra innings. Missed her spot there, and Brooks has worked her way back to a 2-2 count.
She played last season at Birmingham Southern. There's a transfer in here, so that's the longest start of her Wofford career.
Brooks, ball on the ground to shortstop. Greenwood fires across the diamond, and there's 2 down in the bottom of the 9th.
So I have a score sheet that I keep every game. I go old school with the scorekeeping. There's only 11 innings in the score sheet, Faxon. So we're reaching code red here if we go a couple of more innings. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I was going to say you're getting close to the expiration date there. Might have to flip onto the one you had for game 2 and then draw a line. Pray that game 2 only lasts 7.
I can't. My head is hurting even thinking about that. So
pitch 120 from Axelson's outside to Fabio, and Chloe Fabio did her part back in the 7th to try and spark a walk-off winner for the Paladins. She had a single, wasn't able to be brought in by her teammates, but quickly has a 2-0 lead in the count on Axelson. Both teams 8 for 34 at the dish today.
Yeah, the similarities are crazy. Both teams 1 run, 8 hits. You talked about that. Wofford's actually left 11 base runners as opposed to just 8 for Furman. And a bulk of those base runners left have been in the 6th through the 9th.
Yeah, I think the only major difference I'm spotting on the box score is that Furman 5 for 13 for a 385 batting average with 2 outs, and Wofford 1 for 9, just a 111 batting average with 2 outs. Fabio, a little bit of a dummy show of a bunt right there. She was never bunting, pulls back and takes strike 1.
Again, you're just trying to distract the pitcher just a little bit here if you can work a ball 4 out of her. So
3-1 to Fabio. She's swinging, and it is caught by Petty at second base. We are headed to the 10th in leg 1 of the doubleheader from Pepsi Stadium here in Greenville. Still knotted in a 1-1 draw between the Paladins and the Terriers on ESPN+.
So this is pickleball?
It's basically tennis for babies, but for adults.
It should be called wiffle tennis.
Pickle!
Yeah,
These guys are intense.
We got nothing to worry about. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
Got him.
Game.
Thanks for coming to our clinic. First one's free.
What's up, Auntie? Did you get the basketball shoes I need for tryouts this weekend?
Oh, dude,
It's okay.
I'm not going to be able to make it to Dick's this week.
You can just click on Dix.com.
Dix.com. Dix.com.
Oh, welcome to Dix.com.
Wow, they're beautiful.
Let's go shopping.
Are you kidding me? I'm in ball heaven. I like you. Look at all these cups. I really like you. I don't even live near water.
Whoa, these arrived so fast.
I know, right? You're about to get posterized. I'm going to shit out of that
Come on,
glass.
let's go.
Dix.com.
Give me that ooey gooey, crispy, crunchy, mouth watering. Give me that creamy, dreamy, meaty, topping, pepperoni popping. Give me that crispy, coating, homie, Papa John's. Better get you some. Try the trio before it's gone.
College softball on ESPN Plus, presented by Ingles. And if you're looking for fireworks, we've got them at Pepsi Stadium. 10 innings now of softball in leg one of the doubleheader. Facts and Childress, Mark Childress. We got you for game one and game two of this doubleheader between the inaugural series of Furman and Wofford softball. Runners starting on second in the 10th inning. This is a rule of collegiate softball, so trying to speed game one of this doubleheader up a little bit so we can get everybody home safe and on time after game two. But in all seriousness, Mark, for two teams that have struggled ad nauseum offensively throughout the course of both games of this series, a runner on second might be exactly what we need to break this tie.
Yeah, because both of the work in the circle for both teams has been elite all day. And there's a quick bunt.
That's fair. Burrows will fire. So with the runner on second, a lot of the times in the MLB, saw that implemented a couple years ago, you see the first batter bunt the runner over to third to get them in more advantageous position. That's what Chelsea Butler elects for right here, now just 60 feet away from taking the lead.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do. It was very strange. The ball didn't go very far at all. I thought it might have grazed her foot when she was coming out of the box, but the umpire was right on it. Perfectly placed bunt, gets the runner to third. Now a single will give Wofford the lead. Infield and you see all four infielders probably coming up throwing to the plate if the ball is hit to them.
Is in there for a swinging strike one. It's the pinch hitter Needles who, man, what a call from Coach Butler. 2 at-bats, walking a single for Needles, and she's also made a couple really good plays in center field. She's had herself a nice day to make it that much better.
Stolen base in there too.
Ball on the ground and foul, 0-2 now the count.
The aggression of, Coach Whitfield Johnson to bring in the infield, I think it's the right call. If you can get out of this without conceding a run, the Paladins would have a runner starting at second base for them in the bottom half of the inning. So just upping the strategy and the complications even more for both teams. Lazard goes a little bit to the outside there, seeing if she can get Needles to offer, but she does not. That's Caitlin Greenwood on third.
Every at-bat means so much to both teams at this juncture. You don't want to lose it when you get this late. Bizarre missed outside once again in the count 2-2. Something interesting for Wofford. The next 5 hitters have already registered a hit in this game. Bingham's got a hit, Maddox has got a hit, Linson's got a hit, Petty's got 2, and Parker's got a hit when the lineup flips. No stranger to success this afternoon, but would love to replicate it in a big moment. And wise decision, wise decision.
Buzzard knows the importance of this and has slowed her pace down a little bit. Every mistake magnified this late in the ball game.
2-2, ball on the ground. Buzzard bobbled it. Needles delivers the RBI. And the Terriers have the lead in the top of the 10th. I'm not sure they would have gotten Greenwood at the plate, but it had a weird spin on it that Buzzard just could not corral.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they score this, right? I mean, is that a hit? Is that going to be an error? It literally looks like she hits it right off the end of the bat with some she does, with some crazy spin on it. She went to pick it up to make the play at the plate. Good aggressive base running from the Terriers, and they are now on top, 2-1. They are going to call that an error on Buzzard.
And runner will move up 60 feet to second base as Needles hit the dash and is now just 120 feet away from giving the Terriers a 2-run advantage. They'll say that's an advance on a wild pitch. And we mentioned Bigham, the first baseman for Wofford. Now a big spot for her as a hit to the outfield would deliver an additional run of insurance. Swinging. Chang at second. Made the play. Runner will move up to third, and there's 2 down in the top of the 10th. Big out for Buzzard.
Yeah, it is a big out for Buzzard, and again, she should be out of the inning now, and going from there. But you got a chance to get Hannah Maddox here, keep it at 2-1, and again, the Paladins get that runner at second base as well in their half of the inning. That run considered unearned at this point. Both teams have done very well defensively today. There is a previous error on the Paladins. Yoshizumi had one hit off of her glove in left field earlier. Wofford's played clean. Animatics does have that one hit today. That was back in the 8th inning with 2 outs.
0-1 to Maddox, just her 11th AB of the season. Corralled behind the dish from Burrows. And also, Mark, I'm just going to go out here and make a prediction. I think we're going to see Grayson Sneed start game 2 at catcher, and they're going to shift Burrows to designated player.
Yeah.
I can't imagine they would ask her to catch back-to-back games after a 10-inning game 1. But maybe, I mean, maybe Burrows got that in the tank. Maybe Lenz has got that in the tank for Wofford as well. A lot of decisions that these coaches are going to have to make after the fatigue being laid on in game 1.
Yeah, that is a lot. With some of the changes made in the lineup for Wofford now, they have 7 freshmen out of the 9 active batters in the lineup today, with just Bigham and Maddox, the juniors. Maddox up right now. The only non-freshman for Wofford here in their inaugural season. It's a good pitch there from Bizard.
2-2 the count as Bizard draws even. That one run was unearned. They had to put a runner on second to get a run across the plate, or else we might have been here all day, Mark, as both of these pitching staffs have been locked in all afternoon. Terriers would love to extend their lead and give them a multi-run advantage. Paladins want to slam the door, only down 1. The 2-2, a little bit too low. Burrows blocked it. The count now full.
Burrows done a really good job behind the dish today. It's multiple times here in extra innings with runners on second or third base that she's kept a ball in the dirt in front of her.
Three-two, swing and a miss. Bizard is fired up, and the Paladins will enter the bottom of the 10th inning, trailing 2-1, but with the runner in scoring position to start it on ESPN+.
So this is pickleball?
Pickle!
Oh, these guys are intense. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
Welcome back to this U.S. Open office plan.
Miller just lobbed a message way over Jones's head using some technical jargon.
Let's see if they can use Grammarly to their advantage. Jones is using it to make her point in a friendly way. And now Miller's taking a technical doc and asking Grammarly to rewrite it. Let's see if it makes the difference. It's love all, but does Jones feel it?
Yes, they're aligned. Game, set, and match.
Thanks to Grammarly, every word you write helps you reach your goal.
Download Grammarly for free.
Here's to a new feeling. One where comfort breaks limits. Where fit follows your definition.
Hey, you cannot leave the lemons in the
Flexibility brings power. And every move feels weightless.
Hey, Shayla.
Here's to unlocking absolute confidence. Get into it. Lululemon Align.
We welcome you back into Pepsi Stadium here in Greenville, South Carolina. SoCon Softball presented by Ingles on ESPN+. Fax and Childress, Mark Childress have got both legs of this doubleheader on the call. Runner on second base in the bottom of the 10th is Chloe Fabio, and it will be the lineup flipping and the ever-dangerous Ashley Likens trying to get things started for the Paladins. And very similar ideology here to what the Terriers did in the top of the 10th. Likens is showing bunt, trying to get that runner over.
Yeah, and it's interesting here, right? Likens is so good at bunting for a hit. Now you've got one strike. Bunting for a hit, important. Getting the bunt into play and getting Fabio over to third, more important. So maybe you're not quite as aggressive as normal with the bunt.
Bunt showed again. It's going to be a tough play to get Likens. Somehow the throw is made from Parker. That's twice that Parker's charged in from her post at the hot corner and fired across the diamond to get the speedy Likens, but not before Chloe Fabio moves those valuable 60 feet closer to plating the tying run.
Well played, and again, you saw the first one, she tried to kind of punch it down the line for the hit. That time she put it right out in front of the plate And that was the right way to do it. So Caitlin Goldwait has a chance to tie this game up with a hit.
Goldwait has answered the call time and time again for the Paladins over the course of the day as a 1-0 lead in the count. 3 singles, 1 in the first, 1 in the fifth, 1 in the seventh. And this would be the biggest hit of the afternoon if she's able to answer the call once again for a fourth. She's showing bunt. Fabio picked off third base in a pickle. Tough play for Fabio. They applied the tag and got her. It was a suicide squeeze from Coach Stacey Johnson-Whitfield. Fabio had already left her post, and Goldwait could not get the bunt down. And now the Dens are in danger down to their final out.
No mistakes in the field for Wofford today. It doesn't get any better than that. They can't execute on the suicide squeeze. Again, Fabio going, so she's committed. All Goldwait has to do is put the ball in play to be safe. Tag is applied before Fabio gets home. That was a really nice play there by Linzen. Use those long arms to get it. So Goldwait now has to get on base to keep this game alive. Our Margaret Axelson is looking for back-to-back 10-inning wins here in SoCon play. Wofford trying to grab game 2 here of the series. What a big moment there.
So now down to your final strike are the Paladins. Caitlin Goldwait would love to etch a 4th hit into the scorebook. Fouled that one off down the third base line, and staying alive are the Dens. If there's any consolation, Mark, if Goldwait can get on base, you have Burrows and Perry lurking in the shadows. Burrows on deck, Perry in the hole. Yep. Those are your 2 biggest pop threats that could potentially walk it off with a homer. But first, Goldwait got to pull her weight and get on base. 1-2 from Axelson. Goldwait still fighting.
I think that fouled off the catcher and then both legs of the umpires that went through everybody. Everybody's okay, which is good. Goldwait scrapping, that's 131 pitches. Let's see. It's off the catcher, and it looks like it hit both legs of the ump. That was wild. Ball was on a journey.
Goldwait still battling, still staying alive. Impressive AB from the junior.
So again, Axelson had a 135-pitch, 10-inning win against Western Carolina in her last outing. Very close to those numbers here.
Goldwait on the ground. It's going to be a tough play to get her. She is safe. Caitlin Goldwait extends the game for the Paladins. And hard to think about what could have been if the suicide squeeze was not on with Chloe Fabio, as that would have surely tied this thing up at 2. Instead, Paladins still down to their final out.
Hey, Caitlin Goldwait with just a casual 4-hit performance today represents the tying run, and you've got some pop coming up with Burrows.
Sylvia Burrows only has 1 home run on the season, but it's because everybody has been pitching around her. 10 doubles for the first team All-SoCon designated player last year, manning the backstop today for Stacey Johnson-Whitfield. Staring down the barrel of a final out that would tie this series up if Wofford can come out victorious. 1-0. Outside corner, Axelson gets the call. Count even at 1-1, as she's now knocking on the doorstep of a new season high in the pitch count category. Yeah. This will be 136 from Axelson.
It's crazy.
1-1 to Burrows. Burrows finds the hole. Game extension has been the name of the game after Chloe Fabio was gunned down at home plate. And it looked like there was no light at the end of the tunnel for the Paladins. Now there is. Preseason SoCon Player of the Year, Kylie Perry. 2 runners on against your interstate rivals in the inaugural series of the rivalry matchup. This is how legends are made.
Yeah, it feels like Perry is built for this and due for a big moment like this.
Axelson, first pitch. Perry swinging on the ground to shortstop. It's through the wickets of Greenwood. Goldwait coming around and representing the tying run. She's safe. This thing is tied at 2. Are you kidding me? What on earth is in the water at Pepsi Stadium today? This game might never end.
It might be Pepsi that's in the water here. I think they're going to have to call that one an error. Again, one of those short hops that we've seen Greenwood play so efficiently numerous times today, and is suddenly 2-2. Burrow's down at second. I was a little bit surprised they didn't pinch run for her earlier. They are pinch running for her now. We'll have a pinch runner come on. I didn't catch the number on that. I think it might be Chrissy Fleming.
So after the preseason SoCon Player of the Year answers the call and gets a little bit of luck from the Wofford defense, it's a freshman, Ansley Chang. Chrissy Fleming on second. They do go to that pinch run. So they've got great speed on second, representing the winning run. Chang's first pitch swinging. That one's out of play.
It did go in the books as an error on Greenwood, so an unearned run to tie it. Furman was down to their last strike, had 2 consecutive singles, then a misplayed ball in the infield to tie it at 2. Chang has a chance to be the hero with the walk-off.
Lifted, shallow right field, charging in and making the play is Maddox. How about 11? Why not? Off to the top of the 11th inning after Perry ties the game up for the Paladins. 2-2 your score on ESPN+.
You're about to go viral, but it's not so bad, even if you'll forever be known as the #dad. Just remember to take life one spoonful at a time and go. Go to your skippy place.
We got a Subaru Forester Wilderness to discover all the places that make us feel something more.
Subaru is the National Park Foundation's largest corporate donor, helping expand access for all.
Get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2024 Forester. Going on now.
Every Jersey Mike sub is sliced and stacked right in front of you since 1956.
You slice, I snack.
I said slice and stack.
Tomato.
It's tomato.
Freshly sliced since 1956. It's a Jersey Mike's thing.
We welcome you back into the top of the, 11th inning of a softball game on ESPN+. Not a typo at all. The ghost runner is starting on second base. That's what happens in collegiate softball from the 10th inning onwards. We thought it was enough to break the tie in the 10th. It wasn't. We'll do it again in the 11th. It's Maddox on second, the 8-hole backstop for the Terriers, Linzen at the dish, and Bazard in the circle for the Paladins, starting things off with ball 1 outside.
So again, Wofford and Margaret Axelson was 1 pitch away from a 10-inning win and tying up this series, but the Paladins did not give up.
Bunt on the ground from Linzen. Count even at 1-1 as it trailed foul. And Mark, I think what the most difficult part of fielding a bunt or getting a lead runner off of a bunt in softball compared to baseball. In baseball, the 90-foot base pass. In softball, it's just 60. So when the third baseman crashes, they've got no time to recover and get back to third. It has to be the shortstop. And that leaves a gaping hole in the middle of the field for who's covering second base.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And, you know, doing a fake bunt pullback, right, as she bunts another one to the screen here. Be interesting to see if they change strategy with 2 strikes. The fake bunt pullback and try to slap one up the middle, because you know you've got a wide open middle of the field, right? Your shortstop's crashing to third, your second baseman's crashing to first. Could be an interesting way to look at it as well. Infield does go back a bit. They're not expecting her to bunt with 2 strikes.
1-2, Linzen on the ground to the shortstop. Play is made by Chang. She fires over to the first baseman, Perry, and there is 1 down in the top of the 11th. So the one change that was made in the previous inning, we did see Chrissy Fleming come on as a pinch runner. She's been replaced by Hannah Hashioka as we take another look. Hashioka has shifted to second base, and all of this long-winded statement to say Chang, the second baseman, now at shortstop and making a nice play.
and made an unbelievable play as well, right? Sacrificing her body in front of that to make sure that the ball doesn't get through. I think she might have, looks like she's walking around a little gingerly on her ankle as well as the umpire's talking to her. She looks thrilled to be dancing around, jogging around out there with the entire stadium watching her. That looks like exactly what she doesn't want to be doing, but she is okay, it appears. And the game and grind goes on.
So it's Fabio and Chang representing the left side of the infield now, with Hashioka, a trusty veteran for this squad, getting the call defensively at second base. And now with that runner still on second base in form of Maddox, it's the 9-hole hitter Petty, who's had a heck of a day, 2 hits. Looking for a third, instead fouling one off, and the count will move to 0-1.
Getting that first out, super important, right? Getting that first out without the runner advancing to third, absolutely incredible, because now you can just get the next 2 batters and be out of the inning instead of trying to pitch around this batter in Petty because you've got a runner at third. So they're going to have to probably deliver a hit or get some kind of help here if they want to plate this run this half of the inning.
That one too far inside to Callie Petty. She takes it, and it's 1-2. And also, feel like we got to give a lot of credit to not just Axelson in the circle for Wofford. Emmy Bizarre, 4 1/3, no earned runs.
Yep.
She's come in and got herself into a couple really difficult jams, granted, but she's kept her team in this ball game. Big part of why they're still playing here in the top of the 11th, as Petty fouls one off and lives to see another day.
And I did want to point out again, I only have 11 innings on my score sheet, so it is imperative that this game ends this inning, or we're throwing Mark into a frenzy here. I'm going to be right on the end. Didn't pack extra. I got to start packing extra scorecards, I guess, in the future, in case I run off the scorecard like it appears we're destined to do here today.
Off speed, and man, oh man, we've seen it over the course of the last couple seasons. That breaking ball from Bizarre is up near the best of the SoCon, and there's 2 down in the top of the 11th. That was nasty.
That was sorcery. Good grief, that ball took forever to get up there. Great strikeout. Was her 3rd strikeout since she came into the ball game.
That one misses outside, or actually caught the outside part of the plate for strike 1 to Parker. Haven't seen that low and outside strike call often today, but does get the benefit of the doubt right there, does Bizarre.
All the pressure on the Terriers right now. Again, I don't want to say you're kind of auto counting the run when you have a runner starting at second base, but if you execute properly, which Wofford could not do this inning, you would bunt the runner over to third, then get some kind of sacrifice fly or something like that to get the runner in from third to get that 3rd run of the game. Now it's going to require a hit, and they didn't get one. A comebacker. Bizarre celebrates, and the Paladins will have yet another chance to walk it off here in the bottom of the inning.
Bottom of the 11th, up next on ESPN Plus with the Terriers and Paladins knotted in a 2-2 tie.
So this is pickleball?
It's basically tennis for babies, but for adults.
It should be called wiffle tennis.
Pickle!
Yeah,
These guys are intense.
We got nothing to worry about. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
Got him.
Game.
Thanks for coming to our clinic. First one's free.
It's hard to explain what this feels like. Moving piles of earth just by moving a lever. Towing up to 4,000 pounds with a machine that weighs less than half that. Cutting grass, clearing the way, and perfecting every inch of your land. We could keep trying to put it into words, but nothing compares to experiencing it for yourself. You just have to get in the seat. Learn more at johndeere.com/getintheseat.
A hit. No matter how you slice it, or cut it, or cube it. Sizzle, pork, and another way to Spam and eggs. Spam maple flavored.
We welcome you into the booth here at Pepsi Stadium in Greenville, South Carolina. Faxon Childress alongside Mark Childress. He's running out of space on his scorecard because we're in the 11th inning of leg one of a doubleheader here today between the Terriers and the Paladins. And quickly getting things started is still Margaret Axelson in the circle for the Terriers, regardless of what the result is, Mark. A candidate for player of the game. She's approaching her 140th pitch. She's only given up one earned run in 10 innings of work. It's been unbelievable as Poole has attempted to get the bunt down to get Chang over to third base, and the count moves to 1-1.
So you think about fundamentals, right? And Wofford could not execute in the top part of the inning. It is imperative that you get this bunt on the ground in play and get this runner over to third base if you want to win this ball game here if you're the Furman Paladins.
1-1. Can Poole get the bunt down? She does. A great job by Hannah Poole, who is quickly met by the first baseman, Bigham. She applies the tag for out number one. Furman in a position to trade an out for a run, if you will, and they move that runner 60 feet closer to getting that valuable game-winning run.
And it was a really good play as well by Bigham, making the tag of the runner, right? Instead of turning and trying to throw backwards. You never know what's going to happen in an awkward throw like that, and Yoshizumi has a chance to be the hero.
First pitch of the AB to Ainsley Yoshizumi is low and outside for ball one. It's been a unique career trajectory for the Paladins left fielder. Federal Way, Washington State native. University of Rhode Island was her next destination. Now in the Southeast in Greenville playing for the Paladins as she fouled that one off to even the count up at 1-1.
Yeah, she's traveled a long way for a walk-off, right? Because she can get one right here. Again, the infield coming in now for Wofford. You've got Parker, Greenwood, Petty, Bigham. Any ball hit to them, they're more than likely coming up and throwing home.
Chang has got good speed on third. Can Yoshizumi knock her teammate home? Takes ball two outside. And once again, this is one of the big things where softball differentiates from baseball, Mark, with the discrepancies in the size of the field and base paths. Because in baseball, this would be an automatic walk to set up the double play. But the double play is so hard to turn in softball that you have to pitch to Yoshizumi. Yoshizumi a swing. Chang wisely stays put at third. Axelson fires to first. And if she can escape from this, we will be out to the 12th inning. Paladins with just one more chance to plate the winning run here in the bottom of the 11th, and it's the senior, Hannah Hashioka.
The walk-off might be Mark walking out of the booth because he has no scorecard room left. So we're getting a walk-off either way. Enjoy doing inning 12 on your... I'm just kidding. We'll see here if Hashioka can deliver.
Hannah Hashioka, a big spot as she takes strike one on the outside corner. 171 batting average this year for the senior from Claremont, California. She's been a key depth and rotational piece that platoons at second base. Just her 36th AB of the season. Has a chance to be the biggest one. Ball on the ground. Second baseman ranges. Petty made the play. She won't back down for more softball. Off to the top of the 12th in Greenville. Terriers and Paladins knotted at 2 apiece on ESPN+.
So this is pickleball?
Pickle!
Oh, these guys are intense. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
There's only one way to make the impossible possible. With a bit of cheating. There's only one way to smash your goals while smashing nacho cheese chips. You guessed it. Cheating! Woo! Yeah, it's cheating. And there's only one way to make a commercial with Kumail Nanjiani, even though he's currently competing in a triathlon in Hawaii. By cheating.
Big on protein, low on sugar, huge on flavor.
It's basically cheating.
Quest, it's basically cheating.
Every Jersey Mike sub is sliced and stacked right in front of you since 1956.
You slice, I snack.
I said slice and stack.
Tomato, tomato.
It's tomato.
Freshly sliced since 1956. It's a Jersey Mike's thing.
Some of the most brilliant minds in business. No, not you. Or you. You auto-track business income and expenses with QuickBooks. And you pay all your employees easily and accurately. And you have a business bank account with market-leading APY. Get the full picture of your business on one platform. Now with expert help when you need it. That's how you business differently.
We welcome you back in. Once again, folks, not a typo. Game 1 of the doubleheader between the Furman Paladins and Wofford Terriers, knotted at 2 in the top of the 12th inning. And that runner will start on second base from the 10th inning onward, so it'll be the rest of the time we play Game 1. That's Gracie Parker, their leadoff hitter, on second. This is Abby Campbell, the 2-hole hitter, attempting to lay down a bunt, and that's a big break for Wofford. You were laying down the bunt to do exactly what just happened without having to burn the out. Parker gets 60 feet closer to taking the lead for the Terriers, and now Campbell might be allowed to swing away here.
I would let her swing away. And again, Bizarre trying to keep the ball up in the strike zone a little bit, right? Because it's harder for her to bunt that way. Got a little bit away from her. Now you've got a passed ball is what they're going to call that.
Campbell will lift one foul and out of play. Count to 1-1.
So there are some extra spaces over past the 11th that you would normally tally at the end of the game, like the stats of the team. I've worked my way over into that now here in the 12th inning.
The 1-1 from Bizarre to Campbell finds the outside corner, and the count to 1-2. You see Parker, she represents the most valuable run on the field. Would be the go-ahead run if they can plate her just 60 feet away from giving the Terriers the lead. One-two. Swing and a miss, but it's a drop third strike at first base, wasn't occupied. That serves like an RBI single. Nobody out, even though Bizarre will get credit for the K. And after a passed ball, and we'll wait official scoring on this, but I assume to be another passed ball, the Terriers have a lead. Nobody is out, and Campbell's on first base.
Just an absolute nightmare scenario for the Paladins here. Basically conceding that run themselves with the ball getting away from the catcher a couple of times. Burrows has done an incredible job today. First ball into play, and they're going to be safe at second. So we've got a weird inning brewing here for Wofford. You've got a strike 3 call to advance down to first base. A ball hits softly into the hole between short and third. Runner beats it out, and Wofford's got a chance to hang a crooked number this inning.
Yeah, this could be what ultimately pulls Wofford away if Bizarre can't navigate her way out of the jam. Now, it is worth referencing that Furman is slated to have Fabio, Likens, and Goldwaite up to bat in the bottom half of this frame. And how about this, Mark? Those three are a combined 7 for 12 today at the dish. So it's the most dangerous part of the Paladin order today, but they got to get out of this inning only down 1 first as he took another look. Good hustle from Campbell on the base pass, good hustle from Greenwood to get to first base, and now it's the cleanup hitter, Abby Gossett, who is 0 for 5 on the day, or 0 for 4 rather, but there's 2 on, no out for Gossett. First pitch is in there for a strike on the outside corner. Count now 0-1.
Again, that goes in the books as another unearned run against Buzzard.
Abby Gossett.
Misses low and outside. Count now even at 1-1.
Something else we need to start tracking as well, Faxon, is I brought a certain amount of snacks, assuming that we would be, timing this out at a certain time. We're going to be well past that. These are key issues here up in the booth that we got to continuously monitor.
That one too low. Burrows able to block that.
It's a good play there by Burrows.
Yeah, after a couple pass balls cost him earlier in the inning. Burrows able to make the block there. And once again, I mean, you got to feel for Burrows and Linson almost having to catch 12 innings in the heat.
That could be fatigue could be a factor everywhere here, both physical and mental fatigue.
2-1 through the hole from Gossett. Coming up, firing his pool. Will we have a play at the plate? We will, a collision. And it looks like they are going to say that Burrows was blocking the plate, and as a result, the Terriers will grab a 4-2 advantage and still have runners on the corners with nobody out to show for it. So Burrows was standing on home plate. She applied the tag in time, but Campbell, who was coming around from second to score, had nowhere to slide. I think that's the right call. Let's take another look.
Well, first of all, it's a great throw by Poole. Yeah, and it looks like she was blocking the plate, which is unfortunate. She might have been able to make that play. Yeah, her foot's right on the plate.
Yeah, I think that's the correct obstruction call there.
Pinch running at first base for Abby Gossett.
And the crooked number has been hung by Wofford. More importantly, no outs in the inning yet, and they've already plated 2. Paladins need to see if they can hold it here if they want a chance for a comeback in the bottom of the inning. Ouch. As clean as Furman has played for the majority of this game, they've really let this one get away from them this inning, and a lot of it's on themselves.
Chelsea Butler still continuing to try and play the right chess cards as there was a pinch runner. Perry will trade the run for the out and apply the tag. That's Abernathy, who pinch ran for Gossett, who's now down to second base. And the Terriers played another run and lead at 5-2 in the top of the 12th. And once again, Mark, I know that this is against the norm, or deviating from the norm, rather, of what we've seen over the course of today. I still don't think this game's over based on who Furman has coming up in the bottom half of this frame, but you have to keep this at a 3-run advantage. A 4+ run comeback after only scoring 2 in 11 innings, that would be a tall order. These at-bats still matter a lot, and Bizard needs to lock it in.
Well, they do.
First pitch is off speed, a little bit too far upstairs to Bigham. And also important to note, that is the first earned run against Emmy Bizard, was the one that just plated. Her line is now 5 1/3 innings pitched, only 1 earned run to those 4 strikeouts. She's been really, really good in relief of Laura Lee Scott. This game has just extended a ridiculous amount of time. Ranging to make that play was Poole. Unsuccessful diving attempt will even the count up at 1-1.
Again, a couple of pass balls for the first run to score. One of these runs scored after a 3rd strike was dropped and got all the way to the screen. And a couple of hits after that get us where we are right now at 5-2.
That one low. Count moves to 2-1. Big spot here for Bigham, as we referenced. Wofford would love to continue to pour on some insurance. The 2-1 from Bizard. Lifted, foul territory. Perry ranging into a similar area where we saw her make 2 leaping attempts, what seems like forever ago, a couple innings back, but count to 2-2.
Furman won game 1 of the series yesterday, 1-0. Wofford trying to even the series here. We still have a second game coming a half hour after this one today as well.
Oh my goodness, she might have swung out of her shoes on that off speed. And once again, we reference Bizard and that pitch mix she possesses right there, showing off the off speed pitch and a big cut from Bigham.
Goodness me.
And it looked like Bigham almost did a double take. Her left leg came forward and then she went forward again. She was laughing at herself at that point.
And some of her teammates were also, man. She tried to hit that one to Mars.
And once again, if either of us were up there, Mark, we would have looked even more clueless up there.
I would have been injured as well. I just swung so hard, I'd like thrown out something in my back.
So hard to hit off Bizard when she throws almost as fast as anyone on this Paladin staff velocity-wise. And then that's the slowest pitch that I'm sure that Bigham's seen all season with the off-speed.
Definitely.
Regardless, still a runner in scoring position, and Maddox has a chance to extend the lead for the Terriers. Bizard missed upstairs on that one, and the count moves to 1-1. Mark, I want to make another alternate point. It's almost like Bizard has pitched an entire game now, as did Laura Lee Scott. That really handcuffs Coach Johnson Whitfield going into game 2 of this doubleheader.
It's also going to be interesting to see, are they going to run Margaret Axelson back out there again for a 12th inning with a season-high pitch count? And again, in back-to-back games, she's gone over 135 pitches. That's a lot, and that's got to wear her down. Or do you try to get another pitcher out there? It's going to be interesting. And like you said, this game not over yet. Paladins can get one runner on and get a big hit. Suddenly you're right back in it.
Swing and a miss. And the count even at 2-2 to Maddox. Bizard looking to cap off her 6th inning of work after the starter, Laura Lee Scott, went 6 innings. Both have only allowed 1 earned run, but it's the Terriers in the driver's seat 5-2 after some lackluster defense from the Dens. Bizard trying to work her way out of the inning. Back up the middle, has a chance to plate a 6th run for Wofford. Likens coming up firing. Throw is off target. And scurrying to second base is Maddox to give the Terriers a 6-2 advantage. Wofford has finally blown it open here in the top of the 12th. Take another look at that throw from Likens. I'm not sure they would have had her even if it was on target. And some heads-up base running from Maddox to get to second base. Abernathy scores. Maddox set in scoring position, still on second. And now Linzen with the chance to extend the lead once again.
Yeah, it feels like that might make it a bridge too far for the Paladins, but they still have a chance.
And a nice play from Perry over at first base to stretch and corral, but not before Wofford puts up a 4 spot in the top of the 12th inning. With the way this game has gone, anything can happen on the other side of the break here on ESPN+. Wofford looking to even up the series at 1.
That looks really high.
It is high. Whenever you're ready.
Are there any snakes?
Nope.
You sure? Here we go.
It's time to push your limits.
You're doing great.
Whoa, is that a buffalo?
Babe, that's a cow.
The Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. Adventure on the edge.
Formula One at its absolute finest. This is Formula One.
Hey, Avery, you ever driven a Monster Jam truck before?
Never. I have been driving for 2 years. I am still in high school, but I'm a motorsport-loving 18-year-old.
I hope this kid can drive. Welcome to Monster Jam University. Not everybody's gonna make it.
You don't think I can do this? Watch this. I am not a daredevil, but when it comes to the Monster Jam truck, woo! I love it.
Some people got it, some never will.
These will be the longest 5 minutes of my life.
Man, oh man, have we had a day at Pepsi Stadium that we've run out of spots for innings on the scoreboard. We're in the bottom of the 12th here in Greenville, and it is Wofford 6, Furman 2 after a 4 spot was hung in the top half of the frame by the Terrier offense, able to capitalize on some defensive mistakes from the Paladins, some good base running, and some timely hitting. But the good news for Furman is that you have a really, really good stretch of players coming up at the plate, starting things off with Chloe Fabio, who already has a hit in this ballgame.
And again, in just about any other circumstance, you'd see Fabio trying to bunt that runner over here to third base. But at this point, base runners at a premium, right? You don't want to trade an out for an advancement of the runners. So Fabio's going to be hitting, and we're about to hit 150 pitches for Margaret Axelson.
It's been an unbelievable performance from Axelson in the circle. Got to give credit where it's due. She's been consistent. She's been sharp all afternoon. And Mark, how about this? 11 innings pitched, no walks. It's almost
incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Take a look at that distribution between her balls and strikes. More than double strikes to balls here today for Axelson. That's been the key to her success. Fires the 1-1 to Fabio off the end of the bat. Routine play for Perry at second. And there's one down in the bottom of the 12th, the runner Hashioka. And once again, we remind you, 10th inning onwards in collegiate softball, you start that runner on second base, kind of how they do in extra innings in the MLB. That runner was Hashioka. She moves up 60 feet to third base. Lineup will flip to Ashley Likens, who's 2 for 3 on the day.
Who may be bunting because she's so quick, and that's what she does. Again, base runners at a premium.
Slap style, Greenwood comes up firing. They're going to call her out. I'm not sure she kept her foot on the bag over at first base. Wow. A little jarred by that call was everyone in the Paladin dugout and the fans on deck here. But once again, now we'll be 2 down in the bottom of the 12th as they somehow were able to get Likens. We take another look. It was a bang-bang play to start. Bigham had to come off the bag. I'll tell you, Mark, she looks safe from that angle.
Yeah, again, Bigham, 5'6", has that long reach and used every inch of it there to get out number 2. And the Paladins, once again, down to their last out. They've been here a couple of times in this game, and they haven't been able to be put away. Caitlin Goldwaite has 4 hits today.
And it was Caitlin Goldwaite who represented the last out for the Paladins in the 10th. She extended the game, and she just did it again. Goldthwait's got 5 hits, folks. She's 5 for 6. And Mark, I'm going to need a stat check from you on this. I want to say that we broadcasted a game earlier this season that she also had 5 hits in. That might have been last season, but that rings a bell to me. She either had 4 or 5 hits in a game we did at one point in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, she's had some big days at the plate. 5 or 6 will do it, especially in a game where, you know, you've got 5 of your team's 10 hits. She's got half of her team's hits here in the 12th inning. And again, Burrow's job right here, find a way to get on base and bring Kylie Perry up as the tying run.
You want the tying run at the plate, and you want it to be Kylie Perry. Burrows lifts one into left center field. And we have a final score from Greenville. Wofford takes the second game of the series and the first game of the doubleheader by a score of 6-3. An absolute masterclass from start to finish from Margaret Axelson. Mark, some closing thoughts from you.
Yeah, hats off to Margaret Axelson for throwing the most pitches I've ever seen in a collegiate softball game and getting the win. Larley Scott, Emmy Buzzard did pretty well for the Paladins as well. Wofford takes game 2, game 3 coming up in a half hour.
So for Mark Childress, for Jeff Schetzel, the rest of his crew at Paladin Productions, I'm Faxon Childress saying so long for Pepsi Stadium in Greenville, South Carolina. The final score of game 1, 6-3. Wofford over Furman, game 2 in approximately 35 minutes on ESPN+.
Are going to play hard-nosed, intense football.
Rule changes, innovation.
1, 2, 3. They're going to ball out.
Every moment is a moment for greatness.
The United Football League, all season long on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN+.
We got a Subaru Forester Wilderness to discover all the places that make us feel something more.
Subaru is the National Park Foundation's largest corporate donor, helping expand access for all.
Get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2024 Forester. Going on now.
The United Football League on ESPN.
These players are going to play hard-nosed, intense football, passionate football.
Do not let up. Gotta get on the ball. Set the tempo. Let's go.
Rule changes, innovation.
Move to trip slap Fritos.
Touchdown. Every possession. 1, 2, 3.
Every play matters.
They're going to ball out.
Wow. Every moment is a moment for greatness.
The United Football League, all season long on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN+.
It's done. The goal of the year, part of the past. The celebrations, forgotten. The history, history. We're back to a blank slate, clean ice. All that matters now is what happens next. The Stanley Cup playoffs continue on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN+.